What is going on, everyone? It is episode 387 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here with my returning co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. You already know. I was just on vacation in France for a couple of weeks, and I am unironically very glad to be back. I'm like a Zoomer that has to qualify everything with whether I mean it ironically or not. There are a lot of weird things about France.
What are they?
I kind of want to talk about them.
Go for it. I want to hear all about it. Oh, there's a super chat right there. I have a feeling, Mary, that today people are sharing with us their joy to have you back. So guys, before we get started, would you hit the like button on this video? Oh yeah, like if you, whether it's you're glad that Mary's back, I assume that's what most of you are, or you're dismayed that Mary's back, feel free to send super chats and let us know.
I want to know how you feel.
Hit the like button on this video, subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. Thank you very much for that. Also, remember that if you send any super chat, $20 and over, we will interrupt the discussion. We'll read it right then and there. So go ahead, Mary, tell us about France.
Yeah. Well, first I'm going to crack open a cold one with the boys. Boy? Just one.
With the boy?
Because the first thing is that France doesn't have ice, I guess.
What?
French people will just straight up laugh at you if you ask for ice in your drink.
That's just wrong.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, that plus not having AC in almost any of the buildings in the middle of the summer, it's not great. I multiple occasions I asked for a cup of ice for my drink if I got like sparkling water or something, and I think they were like laughing at me behind my back.
Probably. We got a $20 super chat here from from Shane H. Wilder. Says, "Welcome back, Mary. We all missed you. It took all of the chats to keep Brett from selling Mr. Fluffykins and the gang into indentured servitude.
No.
Also, avoid the Padre Pio film. It was socialist propagandist crap."
Okay. I mean, I'm still so curious about it that I think I want to watch it anyway. But where did you watch it? Is it in theaters? Is it streaming already?
Shane, let us know where you watched it. I remember somebody in the chat.
It's been very hush-hush ever since this movie started, like, marketing. I don't know.
Yeah. So no ice.
I felt like they were, like, laughing behind my back because then they would bring me back a cup with, like, 2 ice cubes in it. Like, 2 ice cubes. And it's like, are you genuinely telling me this is the amount of ice that my drink needs? Or are you just trying to play a joke on me because you think I'm a stupid American?
Likely because
Americans are so fat that they're just so like they're sweaty pigs that are just like hot all the time and they need AC and ice. But French people are skinny and they smoke cigarettes, so they don't need those things.
Apparently.
Yeah, then no AC. Also, weirdly, a lot of the toilets don't have toilet seats. And even in the women's restroom, they don't have toilet seats.
That's really weird.
There's eco-saving crap everywhere, but this is like the whole EU probably, that are like required to have it. You can't find paper towels in any public restroom. It's all the air dryers, and
I mean that's a lot of it here now.
No, I find it's pretty easy to find like paper towels in a bathroom here. Which is like the sanitary option. Everyone knows that air dryers are extremely unsanitary and just blow everyone's germs everywhere in the air. It's horrible. It like grosses me out. Yeah, just like things like that. Little luxuries that you can't have in the EU, but you get to have in America. I never learned any French, and I'm proud of that. I didn't have any plans to. Spoke English the entire time because almost all of them speak English. Is that true? Most of them speak, okay. I went to actually a Converse store and bought some Converse, but like the employee I came up to ask about the sizing because it's different over there. But I Googled it to check which one it was.
I used to have to have that because in skating, depending on what sponsors you rode for, if you had a company that was based in Italy, they wouldn't tell you the sizing based on what we use here, which is like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right. It's like 38, 39, 40. All those things. Yeah.
So I had to ask about sizing, and then he was just like. So he looked over at his coworkers who I guess did speak English, and they like refused to help him and started laughing at him and bullying him right in front of me.
For even asking?
For even like they were like laughing at him because he was embarrassed that he didn't speak English, I guess. But it's like, I'm in your country and I don't speak your language. Shouldn't I be the one that's embarrassed?
No, not in America. Now you get mad. They get mad at you even for just speaking English in America if somebody else doesn't speak English.
English only, USA.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that video where it says like, "Man, I'm out of here. I hate this country," and then it cuts to like a Target. It's like USA, USA, US. It's like Starbucks, Target. And it's like these colors don't run, motherfucker. USA, USA, USA.
Yeah. So they like started like mimicking him and bullying him, and I literally was like, I'm just trying to buy some shoes, and I was like, guys, can you please like help him out here? Like he looked over at them like this, like meekly, and then they like made fun of him by doing that to each other. But then someone did eventually help me.
Okay, well at least you got it back, right?
The French people aren't mean or rude.
They weren't.
At
rude
least they weren't mean to me. Maybe because I'm like.
Or maybe you're rude, so you guys all got along.
Maybe that could be it.
That could be what it is.
Also, if you asked for water or like sparkling water at your table, they would bring you a gigantic glass bottle of it instead of just a cup of what you asked for. Yeah. So I would take that out of the restaurant and drink it all day.
Well, it sounds like you had a really good time.
Yeah, I also didn't drink much because I know that you're supposed to like drink wine in France, like as you're supposed to do. But I don't think I can do it anymore. It makes my cheeks all red.
You're like 2 years old.
But it's embarrassing because it makes drinking. I think like I'm not able to metabolize alcohol very well because it makes my cheeks very red. And it makes my face feel very hot. And then okay, I ordered a cocktail on my last day at lunch with my food.
Yeah.
And I like for the next hour, I was like short of breath. Yeah. And my eyes kept drying up. My contacts were drying up. And I was like, am I like allergic to alcohol or something? Like, what's going on? And also the cocktail was literally called Porn Passion. And I only ordered it as a joke. But then when they would say, I just pointed to it. I didn't say it out loud. Then when they would refer to it, they were like, oh yeah, the Porn Passion. Yeah. It's literally in English. And they were like saying it like it was in French.
It
like
sounds
it was
better
some innocuous
in
thing.
Yeah. It sounds better in French.
I considered not ordering it out of principle, but I mean, it's a funny.
Yeah, you know, I'm on a trip. It's a once in a while thing. You know, it's okay. Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about here, ladies and gentlemen. Now that Mary's back, one thing you have to do is you have to go to the poll that's in the chat right now, which begs the question. It says, now that Mary is back from her vacation.
I was on a religious pilgrimage, guys. This was a penitential vacation.
She says religious pilgrimage. I say check-in appointment with her Fed cohorts. And I asked the question. I said, well, on her vacation, which of the various agencies do you think she was checking in with? Was she checking in with her handlers at the FBI? Maybe she dropped by the J. Edgar building?
I just got notice from my earpiece that Tim Pool has ordered food to the castle, and we don't get to have any of it. So
that'll be annoying because that means you know Tad Bromwell. That'll mean if it's FBI, that means you know Tad Bromwell. But I asked, well, like, what agency was she reporting back to? FBI, CIA, NSA, or the WNBA? And so far, WNBA is winning with 47%. They think that you're reporting back to
what if I were actually
the New York
6
Liberty.
feet tall this entire time?
That would be amazing.
And you just didn't know.
That would be amazing. Paul, you are all the time.
You don't need to be that good at basketball to be in the WNBA, right?
You tell me. I've never seen a game. Like, have you ever seen that video where they go around? He's like, I'll give you $1 or these tickets to a WNBA game, and everybody takes the dollar.
One of the weirdest things about the U.S. is that we like perceive soccer to be a girls' sport. Kind of.
Do we? I don't really think that's true.
I feel like at my school it was more popular with girls.
I mean, maybe it's more of a co-ed sport because there isn't really an analog other than basketball. No, that's not true because like hockey is very popular in Minnesota. Like there's girls hockey teams and stuff like that, but it's not as popular as boys hockey, right? There's definitely girls basketball teams. There's definitely girls soccer teams, but it feels like you're right. Like maybe girls soccer is the one that you hear the most about. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
And then I think Megan Rapinoe, is that how you say her name? She recently like got clowned on because no one knows any of these athletes. They just know Messi and Ronaldo.
Now they're saying that we're still having problems with the connection here. What? Guys, are we back? Let us know if we're back.
Buffering
I'm not sure. Yeah, we were having issues. We're still getting this notice, right? Guys in the chat, I know some
Fed
people were
confirmed.
saying, yeah, like this could very much be Fed confirmed, but it looks like we're still going. So let me know.
Mary's fault.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm seeing us. It could just be a delay.
I brought a curse back with me.
Could be. I mean, we didn't have a single problem the whole time you were gone. Suddenly Mary's back. It's probably some type of like tracking device they have on you to make sure that they know where you are. Yeah. They're saying buffering the vampire slayer. That's nice. Very clever. We're just going to keep going because unless it cuts out, I don't know what else to tell you. We're just going to keep going. So we got a bunch of stuff to talk about here today, ladies and gentlemen. Harrison Ford has confirmed that it is okay to punch Nazis if you so desire. So let that be known.
It's okay to say gay.
Yeah, it is. What he's saying is like Harrison Ford says that Indiana Jones advocates for political violence. That's what it says. That's what I'm going to take it as. So he says that, yes, it's okay to punch Nazis because they all believe that there's Nazis all over the place these days. They haven't yet commented on whether the same is true for commies, but I'm guessing they're getting to that question. So we're going to talk about that. We are also going to talk about, they're saying misframes. It says loud and clear as soon as you started talking soccer.
Yeah, I'm seeing that on the stream right now.
What?
The frame rate is low.
Okay.
Well, it's switching between, it's going back and forth.
Yeah. Freezing and unfreezing, but seems to have stopped now. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so it's France's internet. They're trolling us.
Yeah.
Megan Fox has wished a hex upon Robby Starbuck, and Mary wants to talk about it.
I love when mainstream celebrities get into beefs with conservative influencers. Yeah. Like this happened with Isabella Riley, right? Yeah. And who is that?
I remember what you're talking
about. Iggy Azalea. Yeah. It was Iggy Azalea. Yeah. She was in like a multiple day long Twitter debate over Iggy's OnlyFans.
Now it's saying no. I'm hoping that we're resetting here. It's saying no data. Now it's saying we're back. Go ahead. Keep going.
Okay. We're so back, guys. Or it's so over.
I'm wondering if we should just like...
They're saying F.
Yeah. I'm wondering if we should kill the stream
What's going on?
And start again. Do we kill the stream and start again?
I don't know.
No. Guys, what do you think? Should we kill the stream and start again? Concurrents are low. I think we should kill the stream and start again. I'm gonna send.
No.
Hold on. Keep them talking, would you? Or keep talking, would you?
I can continue talking about my trip if you want.
Go for it.
I mean, some people might find it kind of boring. But I went to Lourdes toward the end of my trip, which is the site of a Marian apparition, where this teenage girl, Saint Bernadette, saw Mary like I think 18 times in the span of just like a couple of months.
Okay.
And she was at first she was like doubted because she was this poor, ignorant, illiterate peasant girl. And no one believed her, but then she started gaining more attention and credibility over time. And I saw these signs in Lourdes that said, a teenage girl has seen. And I just thought it was really ironic that people say that the Catholic Church is like misogynistic or like subjugates women, when like all we do is listen to hysterical broads all the time. I'm not saying they're hysterical. I just think it's funny. Her, Saint Bernadette, and Joan of Arc. I mean, even Mary herself was, I'm sure, doubted by many people when she said that she, was pregnant by the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
But also, it was a weird town because it's very touristy, obviously, and it would be the middle of nowhere had it not been for the Marian apparitions there. And all of the stores are just like religious wares. And then there are just restaurants and hotels. That's literally it. And it was kind of off-putting. I felt like maybe some of the magic had been lost there. Because, I mean, it's beautiful, but it just feels like a fake town. It feels like a ghost town a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I went there. I went to Paris. It was not nearly as diverse as I expected it to be. I'm disappointed. Where else did I go? I went to Rouen, where Saint Joan of Arc was burnt at the stake. And I actually got to see the crucifix that she held while she was burning alive. And they say that she held it and like stared at it.
Okay.
Which is like really intense. But we went to a church that was right at the site of her burning and of her execution, which by itself is like a scandal for the church because she was executed by the church. But the church that we were at, it was like not as beautiful as I feel it should be. It was like, it looked like a big Viking ship, but turned upside down. Like, it was very hard to describe, but it's ugly on the outside. I won't like say it was pretty. It was ugly. So I just felt like St. Joan of Arc doesn't like this. It's And how's the stream doing? Are we? Okay?
We're just gonna go with it. We're just gonna go with it. It is what it is, guys. I saw something earlier that Deuce Boogaloo said he sent a $20 super chat. We did not get that. So right now I don't know.
Oh,
here it is.
I see it here.
Okay,
Welcome back, Mary. Hope you had fun in Northwest Syria, aka France. It's really not that bad, I swear. Maybe I was just in the good parts. I wasn't in a bad part of town when I was in Paris. Have you guys talked about Megan Fox's online spat with Robby Starbuck yet? I feel like that's a perfect topic for y'all. While I'm here, it wouldn't have been covered if I... Yeah, we're gonna get into that later.
It would have been I would have covered it on Monday, but you said you wanted to do it, so I set it aside. Okay. Like I definitely we would have covered it on Monday, but yeah. So all right, guys, I guess we're just gonna have to go with it. If the stream looks bad today, we just might not have any clips to post tomorrow if there's problems, but we'll just go with it. So if you are ready, Mary, we will just get right into it. Are you ready? Oh, I didn't even mention the other stuff that we're going to talk about. We're also going to be talking about Millie Bobby Brown not realizing that it's not okay to say how you can just plant a kiss on the lips of a guy and act like that's totally normal. Her intimacy coordinator has... guys, are we back? Let me know if we're back. If it is, I think it's because I popped up the chat.
I'm looking at it and it's frozen.
It's frozen?
I don't think that it was related to the chat.
Okay.
Maybe we should start a new stream.
All right, guys. I'm gonna restart the stream. Now they're saying back.
But if it keeps going back and forth, maybe
it literally just did that when I popped out the chat.
Wait, do it again and see if it happens again.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna try this one more time. And let me know if this is a problem. So I'm gonna pop this out. Let me know if anything happens. There.
Mary talked for a solid 5 minutes. It was fine.
Yep. Okay.
Just restart. Someone's saying, well, no. Then someone else said, don't start over. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're just going to leave it. So we're just going to go ahead and go with it. Let me know if there's, keep an eye on it. Let me know if there's any problems. All right. All right. So ISOM number 2 hits $1 million in short order, which is fantastic. Also, womp, womp, womp for Disney. We haven't done a womp, womp, womp in a very long time.
Yeah.
Disney accidentally hires a porn star for The Little Mermaid. His name was Stefano Tomadini, and he went by the name Dante Ferrari, which is a very pornish name. So good on him.
His name in the credits was Dante Ferrari?
No, that's the name he goes by in porn. His name is Stefano Tomadini.
This is why people have stage names.
Yes,
so
exactly.
You can't Google them and find out.
So yeah, they
wanted all the
him.
mermen to be like hunky and toned.
It says casting bosses decided to hire a number of really sexy male models to play mermen in the movie. Well, that's what happens when you hire really sexy male models. You end up getting mermen, and then this is all a problem. So
I thought that all of the mermen and mermaids looked like Vegas performers, which coincidentally means that none of them were fat, but also the costuming was just not it.
Yeah. You weren't a fan of the costumes?
It looked cheap. They just looked like literally the women who were in the fish tanks in Vegas. Also, I think that they should have tried it with the shell bras. Also, remember Stallone went by he did porn in the start of his career. He did?
Yeah.
That's crazy because I thought that earlier in his career...
He was like the Italian stallion or something like that.
I thought that earlier in his career he was like more outspokenly Catholic.
I don't know.
So what happened there?
Yep. Who knows?
Wait, is that like... why do people not know about that?
People know about that. It gets brought up from time to time. It's just so long ago. I mean, the dude's like 75 now. It was like when he was in his 20s. 50 years ago now.
Weird.
Yeah. So some people are saying that they don't think this is an accident and Disney's just perverse. I don't know. I think it's more likely that they didn't catch it. So,
but the guy he's kind of weird looking.
He's not what I think of when I think of a male model, but it is what it is. Also, J.K. Rowling has said that she's making fun of Johns Hopkins University because they just can't seem to do the Matt Walsh and figure out what the hell a woman is. You see this?
They like changed the definition of a lesbian to a non-man attracted to other non-men.
Yeah.
But they've actually gone back on that now and pulled that definition today.
Just today?
Yeah, I saw reports of that just today. Mm-hmm. Just because they were getting backlash on it.
She shared that the university's LGBTQ glossary defined a lesbian as a non-man attracted to a non-man, while past definitions refer to lesbian as a woman who is emotionally, romantically, and or sexually attracted to other women. This updated definition includes non-binary people who may also identify with that label.
But then the label gay stayed the same. Mm-hmm. Men attracted to men. So why didn't they just say non-women attracted to other non-women?
I don't know, but she's
suspicious.
always going to troll when she can. If she can, J.K. Rowling's always going to troll. Now I've got excellent connection back, so it looks like we're fine. So we should be good now.
All right.
That helps. Also, guys, if you're somewhere that ends up with a Netflix pop-up restaurant in Los Angeles, I want you to let me know, because this is apparently a thing. I don't know if is it going to serve you buffering movies like our show today, because that's what happens anytime I watch Netflix nowadays. I get buffering notices, and then it restarts. Maybe what happens is they make half your food, and then they start it over from scratch.
Netflix bites.
Yeah.
They could just serve different flavors of popcorn.
That would be kind of cool, except for it's not really a reason enough to have a freaking whole pop-up restaurant.
Actually, couldn't they open like actual movie theaters?
Netflix could afford to if they wanted to, yeah.
Like, that would be a better idea than this.
Like, what if they did? Like, what if they opened a theaters just for Netflix?
But only to show the Netflix movies,
yeah.
I mean.
And just when they're new, right? So that, or no, I mean, they could make a lot of money leasing out space.
Why are we giving them good ideas?
I know, right?
That they could never come up with on their own.
They could also lease out space, I guess, to other people, like to other theaters if they wanted to do that, but they don't have to.
No.
But it would be interesting. It says, acclaimed chefs attending Netflix bites include Curtis Stone from Iron Chef. I guess, like, is all of the culinary world now just populated by people who have been on cooking shows?
Pretty much.
I mean, I still go to the store and see stuff from Emerald. Remember Emerald?
Yeah.
Kick it up a notch. Bam.
Yeah.
That guy's got to be doing well.
OG Iron Chef was like really good back in the day. I watched that as a kid. My roommate, by the way, in France, she went to culinary school, and she said that they would just verbally abuse everyone there. Like, there was a guy with big ears in her class, and they were like, "Go back to your station, Dumbo." Go fly back to your station.
That's ruthless. Like, you can't make fun of someone's ears. That's not nice.
It's just, that's one of the last places that isn't, sensitive yet.
Yeah. And there's also those videos of like Gordon Ramsay being mean to adults, and then it's him being nice to kids.
An angel to the children.
Yeah, because he knows don't be mean to the kids. You got to be mean to the adults. You be mean to their, like, it'd be funnier if what they did is they show him be really nice to the kids, but then he's really mean to their parents, like when they're not around.
Well, no, he tells their parents not to give them any inheritance like he's doing for his kids.
Yeah, him and Jackie Chan and a couple of other ones who are just like, hey, sorry, you're going to have to make it on your own.
That sucks.
Well, I think with Jackie Chan also, he has one kid that's really successful and another one that's not. Like another one that had like run-ins with the law and stuff like that. So maybe it's like one of those things where he doesn't want to encourage something that shouldn't be encouraged.
Give money to the well-behaved kid and don't give any to the poorly behaved one.
Yep.
It's easy as that.
Ooh, Wayward Soul in the chat says Mark Dacascos is TV's The Crow. He's great. Mark Dacascos is, I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name, but that guy's awesome. He played, he had a really good recurring role as in Hawaii Five-0, and then he's also using John Wick 3. We have a $20 super chat from Sean Easton.
He said, have y'all watched the new Cat in Boots or read One Piece? The latter is 100% a series you need to read. Make it a donation goal. Also, the French are rude AF. I'm sorry you had to go through that, Mary. Boys, boys, boys. Mary.
Boys, 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 and Mary.
The French are not rude, at least not to
I think they
young women.
You think that's what it was because you're a young woman, they left you alone. But if I was there, they'd have been like, "You're a piece of shit. Get out of here."
Have you ever been?
I've never been to France.
You've been to a lot of countries, though.
But I haven't been to France. So like maybe I'll go and like I didn't know they also spoke English there.
They all have to learn it in school, but not all of them are like actually proficient.
One of the things that was interesting for me. Oh, by the way, guys, thank you. We're going to have a crisis party here, and I'm very proud of this week's one that we put. In fact, I'm going to double check the volume just to make sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also,
yep, we're good.
I got this thing on my trip where like I have at any summer camp or like study abroad or whatever where you're with the same group of people for a short period of time where every day feels like a week and you get weirdly attached to everyone. Like you feel like you're closer to everyone than you are.
Yeah.
Do you get that? Like when you've been on like tours?
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of those people I stayed in contact with, or like some of them I knew before, but like when I went to Europe, I stayed pretty close with some of those dudes. Like I still talk to them from time to time. That was a long time ago, but it's definitely like you didn't spend. That was like a month, so that's more than a week.
We got Canadian money from Will Pine.
Says Mary,
do you know of Saint Brother Andre at Saint Joseph Oratory in Montreal? Beautiful and holy place to pilgrimage. Am I even allowed in Canada if I don't have the jab?
I have a good question. I would go there if I was, it's like all men who want to go and suit Lauren Southern, all men who want to be the suitors of Lauren Southern have to get jabbed so that they can go and pitch their game.
If you haven't heard
Southern.
the news, then Lauren Southern is single.
Like I'm
ready
gonna,
to pringle.
I'm gonna have to go and like get a shave, go get cleaned up, get my resume in order, and then they're like, sorry, you're not in without the jab.
I haven't made any plans to go to Canada personally.
It's I
could change my mind, but it's unlikely.
Yep.
So I want to be around all those frostbacks.
Hey, as an honorary frostback, I take personal offense to that one. Tell us about Amy Schumer, why don't you?
Yeah, she recently denounced use of Ozempic,
even though
she has used it herself.
Pulling the weight loss ladder up behind her,
right?
Leaving all the fatties at the bottom.
Wow. Who was that? Who did the acapella?
It's Ian and Carter.
Oh, that's sweet.
It's Ian and Carter.
They need to start a little like duo.
Don't you picture them with like a whiskey in their hand as they're doing it, or like they're outside of a
handlebar mustache?
Yeah, they're at a barbershop. It's an actual barbershop quartet.
But a duo.
But it's a duo. We'd have to get three others.
That.
Yeah. I was like, as somebody who hadn't done one in a while, because like I had my Adobe Premiere got reset and I was having all this trouble making new Crisis Party sound effects. And then when they sent me that audio, I got really excited and got really into it. I'm like, let's go.
You didn't even ask for it? They just did it?
They just made it for me.
That's fun.
Yep.
So here's what Amy Schumer said about Ozempic. I tried it a year ago. However, I was one of those people that felt so sick and couldn't play with my son. She said the side effect is that you're like sluggish because you're basically like full all the time, but you're not. She said she was immediately invested in the medication initially, but quickly discovered that the drug made life unlivable for her. And then she said...
Did she say why?
Well, there's just the side effects.
Yeah.
She said, everyone's like smaller portions. She's shading Mindy Kaling right now. Shut the F up. You're on Ozempic.
Just be honest.
Just stop. Just be real with people. I think that we could all do with a little less real.
I think she also recently called out Alaya for
oh, she was on it too?
No, for the accent.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Look, like the Ozempic
Amy Schumer's just a little bit too real for me.
Yeah.
Like, it would be more polite to be less real and candid.
I don't know. Like I like it's annoying because it's very clear that like people are just going to keep using it, and she used it. So I guess what she's saying is like, look, there are side effects, and I'm being honest about it. But a lot of times when I read stuff like this, it just sounds like they're pulling up the ladder behind. It's like, oh, now that I've gotten skinny off it, you're not allowed to.
Well, is this like the miracle drug that everyone's going to be on in 10 years or something, or maybe less?
I mean, I don't know.
Is this going to like solve the obesity crisis?
Well, I think because that would be considered off-label use if I remember correctly, because it's not used for weight loss.
Well, then how the heck did she get it?
Well, it's Hollywood. They have like their own doctors that just give them.
She's
what they
admitting
want.
to a crime then.
Technically, yes, but it would be impossible to prove. Right. So, oh yes, people are mentioning crack. Yeah, that's what they used to use, or diet
the
pills.
old-fashioned way.
Yeah, like I wish they would just get skinny off crack, like a respectable person.
Well, this is scary. When you lose weight, if you're overweight, when you lose weight, your fat cells don't disappear. They stay in your body. They just shrink.
Yeah.
So that's why when you've been overweight, it's way easier to gain the weight back because the fat cells are all there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either until like literally last week. That's like kind of a scary fact though. Like you can't really reverse what you've done to your body unless you get lipo.
But then you have to keep working at it, and then you have to keep staying. Like you can't let up. It's kind of like, and we'll read the $20 one in a second here. But it's like if you work out a lot, right, and you get in really good shape and you define your body, like it takes months and years to build up all of that muscle and tone your body like that, and it takes very little time to lose all of it right away. Like all it takes is a little bit of time off the weights. For me, the same thing is kind of true. It's really funny. Like, it takes a long time to get skating legs, meaning like there's a difference between like skating every day for fun and skating every day for distance or something like that. Or the best example would be people who compete. Like skating a park in a competition is very different from skating a park just for fun. And you have to do it regularly to stay in shape to do it. Even if you're in good shape otherwise, it doesn't necessarily mean you have the endurance that you need for stuff like that. We have a $20 one there from Dave
More
Gazuli.
Canadian money. Yep. He said, welcome back, Mary. FYI, as a born knucklehead, hearing you use the word frostback is the highlight of my day. By the way, it's pronounced Gazuli.
Did I just say that?
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah.
Like
Ra's al
Ghul.
Yep.
Hashtag Egyptian names matter.
They do matter. The real question is, Dave, are you a fan of Ra's al Ghul?
We've got another one from Francisco Sanchez Jr. He said, Mary went to France to purify those heathens. Hopefully your mission was a success. It's good to have two Wonder Twins back together.
I think it means the Wonder Twins back together.
The Wonder Twins?
Yeah, there you go.
Is that us?
That's us. We're the Wonder Twins. I guess we're not identical twins. We're just it is what it is.
But speaking of Ozempic, I mean, France doesn't need Ozempic.
Because they're skinny.
They're skinnier.
Do they also eat? But they eat a lot of bread there, don't they? So they get the carbs.
None of the esoteric bro scientists want you to know this, but I gained weight in France because I was eating a caloric surplus every day. And that's how the human body works with thermodynamics. So no, not all of US food is trash and poison. You just need to eat less of it.
I also like when they point out that like whenever people say big boned, like in America, like that's not saying.
It's just all of these weird copes that we come up with. Yeah.
Rhaegar Targaryen says, I'm not going to lie, frostback makes me a lot uncomfortable.
Really?
Makes me kind of uncomfortable. I don't know.
Are you one of them?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is that why?
I don't know.
Can you reclaim that slur?
And then Wyatt Derp says, not all carbs are created equal. Oatmeal and granola over pasta and taters. Well, I'm taking pasta and taters. Sorry. That's me. All right. Let's talk about Dream. We were talking about this. He deleted his face reveal and put his mask back on.
His face reveal video was really cringe.
Yeah.
The whole video, and I think like going forward after that, he would only show one side of his face. He was like this all the time.
Yeah. Leaned into it.
Yeah, and it just makes you seem insecure, so of course people are going to make fun of you.
And it makes no sense because he's the most normal looking dude ever.
Well,
he's perfectly fine looking.
People were also bullying him because he bears a strange resemblance to Shane Dawson. Like he looks like he could be Shane Dawson's long lost son.
People are like asking that question.
What question?
Where people ask, like maybe he's a secret he's a secret brother of Shane Dawson.
Yeah. And also like his whole excuse for having the mask on in the first place was like some weird mental health narrative. Like I can't show the real me because I'm so damaged.
But it's just weird. Like, I guess it kind of shows the fact that like you can be insecure for reasons that go beyond your physical appearance, and body dysmorphia is a real thing. Like when you're very clearly a very normal, plenty fine looking okay person, and then you feel so uncomfortable with yourself that you can't put yourself on camera. Right?
I also recall this guy getting exposed for messaging his underage fans.
Did that turn out to be true? I don't remember if that was true or not.
It's impossible to know, but I wouldn't put it past him. I like just the way knowing that YouTubers always are like having weird parasocial relationships these days.
Yeah.
I mean, Colleen Ballinger, Miranda Sings is currently getting exposed for the same thing.
For people that are not of age.
For literally 13, 14, 15-year-olds.
It's also like you can't put the genie back in the bottle. Anybody here who ever grew up watching wrestling understands that once Kane took the mask off, he tried to put the mask back on again later, and he just wasn't scary.
Once you've showed the entire internet your face, it's not like that's going to be erased from the digital footprint. Yeah,
in wrestling, when Kane did it, like the story was that he wore a mask because he was in a house fire because he was the Undertaker's brother.
Was he?
No, like okay. so what they do is they tell him like he was in a house fire. So then one day they take the mask off. But the problem is the wrestler doesn't have any scars in his face, so they like put like black soot on his face, kind of on the top, and like he just looks really mean. And they're like, the scars were emotional, and it just didn't work. It didn't work. But then they tried to put a mask back on him later, and it didn't really work. And then he became mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee.
Loses its charm.
He's the libertarian mayor of Knoxville.
If you have the option to not show your face on the internet, don't. Pretty much.
I know, right? Like I would have, I'd hold off.
Well, I guess I can't think of a benefit that would have for any woman who's attractive on the internet, but everyone else probably shouldn't be showing their personal info.
Yeah, like I just, I'd have been better off. Just, it was the joke I always say. It's like, Brett, you sure got a face for radio. That's the.
No.
That's the joke. So, like, you can't put the genie back in the bottle, and he's saying that it's back, that he's gotten backlash since he had the face reveal. But I think you might be right. For
having a face?
Yeah, I think the backlash might be more over the stuff that you were pointing out than the other stuff. He says, I will slowly be deleting all pictures of me online and going back to just being a gamer in a mask. Starting with the Mr. Beast video and my face reveal video. Hi, I'm Dream. I will be walking it back. I will be getting rid of everything other than my new mask.
Is his name still not public?
I don't know his name. I mean, I just call him
Dream. By Dream.
Yeah. The same company that made Spider-Man mask, Batman mask, and many other superheroes are making his mask. It must be nice when you get the money.
We got a super chat from I Am What I Am. He said, welcome back, Mary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again. This is a good one.
It is. It's party time. I raised the volume
Had
even
to
more.
add that explosion at the end.
Yes. So well, I guess and you can use that one for extended periods of time, because what you can do is like maybe next week I keep it, but I just put automatic gunfire rather than 9mm gunfire in there, right? Like,
do we have to have any gunfire?
I like the gunfire.
It's worth asking.
I like no, because literally like when Ian made it, he's like, dude, you can put like explosion. Like he sent him, it's perfect. You can put like explosions behind it and car crashes.
I guess I appreciate the creativity.
In Rhaegar's right. You should have seen Dane's face. He's tormenting Dane. He kind of does it to himself by pointing out that it annoys him, that it bothers him. So, have you seen the meme from The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent that's becoming popular, where it's like Nicolas Cage looking really haggard, and then Pedro Pascal's going,
yeah,
that. Yeah. It's like Dane,
Dane's profile pic?
Dane, no, it's like, yeah, but it's like Dane's like, it's like me every time Brett creates a new Crisis Party sound effect, and he's just looking really haggard, and then it's me like, yes, I love it. It makes me happy. And it has to be that loud because people here need to be able to hear it. Mm-hmm. You know, that's the real reason. I guess we could give it a dedicated microphone.
We could just put it in OBS.
No, we can't.
Right?
No, we it can't work with the automation.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no, it can't be in the headphones. Plus, if it's in the headphones, then it's not super loud and it doesn't scare anyone. Mm-hmm. So
I wonder if we should ever do TTS. Text to speech.
Maybe
episode 400.
We'd have to get it worked out by then. We could do that. So, best of luck to Dream, but I just don't know if you could put the genie back in the bottle on that one. It's not like you're going to be able to get rid of all the pictures of you on the internet. No. That's not going to work.
Is it going to be like posting a picture of him as dead naming?
Yeah, you're dead facing. You're dead facing him. All right, guys. So let's get started, shall we? Would you like to do cringe or would you like to do cute?
We should do cute first.
I got just a single cute one today. Fresh Meat 999. I'm still not seeing it, man. But send it in.
We got another one. Sorry, from I Am What I Am. He said more gunfire and explosions in the crisis party, please.
I am happy to oblige, my friend.
Okay.
It does make me a little bit nutty when I'm looking up like gunfire explosions on YouTube for like the right sound effects. But you know, it is what it is. All right, so here's for cute of the day. This is from Pot-Bellied Goblins on Twitter. Says, Meat Bandit. And Bandit is adorable, I tell you.
Aw,
that is a very cute looking puppy right there. I like it. All right, cringe of the day. Let's watch the video, shall we?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Brett's going to love this one.
Oh, I'm going to love this one. Here we go.
Oh, blah, 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 blah. If you're going to be rowdy.
So it says for the people that are listening rather than watching, it says the female bartender in every movie written by a man.
Go to Julian's bar across the street. Serious, Travis, you're out of here. No shit. Jensen Walker, as I live and breathe. I haven't seen you around here since you had a mustache and I was just a bleach blonde with a bad credit score. The usual. All right, one Harvey Wallbanger coming right up. Woo! Some things never change.
The music is spot on. The music is spot.
Is it giving Coyote Ugly or is it giving Penny from Top Gun Maverick?
It's giving Penny from Top Gun Maverick. Like Coyote Ugly should be on the bar dancing. And maybe slap him. She'd slap him a little bit.
The boss bartender, she never did the dancing.
Well, she probably did when she was younger, but doesn't have to now. Yeah, that was Maria Bello. Maria Bello when she was younger.
So what kind of trouble you in this time, huh? Oh, please don't bullshit me. I could smell a leaky gas cap from 2 miles away. I'd be drinking here if you weren't in trouble. Or whatever it is. It's a bad idea. But don't you just love those? Alright. Holler at me if you need something, huh?
Oh, you know what else it's giving is
No, the last part.
Okay, here we go.
Don't even think about it.
Just openly catering to Brett's male gaze.
It is. It's kind of like Angelina Jolie in Gone in 60 Seconds when she plays a bartender.
Angelina Jolie as a bartender.
There's
super
literally
believable.
a part where she puts the towel over thing and she like licks her like ridiculously big lips, and you're just like, I don't know if she would do that to a guy who looks like Nicolas Cage. I'm just saying. But also it gives me vibes of the part at the end there. There's this scene in an episode of House where he pretends to have cancer so that he can get drugs implanted directly into his brain, and he like everybody he works with finds out about it, even though he tries to keep it from them because obviously he's doing something wrong. And then at the end, he doesn't even tell Cuddy that it's not real. And basically, she's like, he's trying to shoo everyone away when they're like, "We want to help you. You're our boss. You're great," even though they know he knows that nobody actually likes him. And then at the end, and he's like, "No, get away from me." And then at the end, she's like, "Do you need anything?" He's like, "I need you." And she gives him a hug. And then he like literally just grabs her ass. And then like when she's walking away, he starts walking and following her. She goes, "Call the Make-A-Wish Foundation." That's what this is giving here. So I'm loving it. That was fantastic. That is every bartender. And the music is spot on.
It was very Top Gun Maverick.
The music was perfect. So, all right, guys, let's get started first. Let's talk about Harrison Ford and this lame journalist who gives him a loaded question and then forces him to answer, knowing that how this journalist interprets the word that he uses is going to be different from the rest of the public. In this case, he asks Harrison Ford, would Indiana Jones jump in line to punch Nazis in the current year? And then he points out, because there's just a Nazi on every street corner these days.
He said, I asked Harrison Ford how ultimate Nazi puncher Indiana Jones would feel about the debate over punching Nazis in real life today. Quote, Harrison Ford said, he'd push him out of the way to get in the first punch. As well he should.
And as we know, guys, you and I know that when these people talk about...
We've got one from
Fresh Meat 99 says, I'm not saying that first word. I'm sorry. Won't let me send actual username in the super chat. Look for my next post. Okay.
Okay.
It's hard for me to do this. Okay. I'm going to write that down. So keep going.
All right. Anyway, obviously Harrison Ford is like ancient now, so he's not plugged in.
He looks tired. Let's watch the video.
Okay,
let's watch the video. I think
he's having a hard time getting his words out at this point.
As
Indiana
people
Jones.
know, like when you watch these, like when they do these press blitzes, like they're doing a bunch of them all at once. So very likely he's done a bunch of these interviews and he's old and tired because Harrison Ford is old. Like you can't blame him. So here we go.
In terms of real life resonance, Indiana Jones has taken on this elevated symbolic significance in recent years because we've actually seen, bizarrely, proliferation of actual real life Nazis parading around, and some of them are getting punched.
It's proliferation.
So what I
They're
wanna
just
know
everywhere.
Is, would the ultimate Nazi puncher, Indiana Jones, would he support these people doing the punching?
He'd push them out of the way to get in the first punch.
Get the first shot.
As well he should.
Yeah.
Also, why is his audio
That was
so
a
bad?
black and white world.
Yeah,
This
Yahoo, step
evil
it up.
presented itself to the world. I mean, it's
You can see the gears turning.
It's incalculable that this vision of evil not be confronted.
In terms of
He doesn't say anything about commies, so I'm going to assume that he just magically forgot to ask that question. I'm sure as a journalist, he was going to mention both sides of the political spectrum when he was advocating for violence.
Does Harrison Ford know who Richard Spencer is? I wonder.
I don't think Harrison
I don't
Ford knows
think he's really clued into this debate.
who he is.
But that
was an
video of
extremely
Richard
leading
Spencer
question.
getting punched when he has like the Pepe pin on his lapel.
Yeah.
Honestly, punch cringe people. I don't care if
Don't
they're Nazis
punch
or not.
anyone. Don't punch anyone. We're not advocating for
I'm
violence.
kidding.
That was an extremely leading question, and it's extremely annoying because you and I understand that when these people say Nazi, they mean anyone to the left of
Antifa.
They don't want to see
Who,
it.
by the way, can't
right of Antifa.
throw
Yeah.
a punch for their lives because they're a bunch of scrawny academics.
Yeah.
And they merely fantasize about real transgression. Even if you look at all of these videos of Antifa and, so-called Nazis fighting in the streets, these are clearly people that just are men used to go to war. This is like some simulation of actual conflict, but they're not really hurting each other. They're just yelling and shoving each other around. They should probably go to a mosh pit instead if they wanted to feel danger.
That's what they would have done back in the day.
Yeah, they probably just would have gone to a mosh pit back in the day instead of ruining the streets of Portland.
And of course, as we know, Harrison Ford, as Indiana Jones, has in fact punched Nazis and commies in the movies. It's just funny to me because you just know that guy was never going to mention the opposite. Yes! When Harrison Ford, crisis parties, that's the real question. We wake him up.
So Indiana Jones punched commies?
Look, it's...
Thank you, by the way.
It's just hilarious because they're just not willing to admit that they want people to be violent. I totally believe that what this reporter is saying is hey, CNN, hire me. I need a job. Hire me. I don't want to talk about the news. I don't want to talk about movies. I want to talk about politics because that's what
He's
they
gonna
want.
take who was the one that got booted from CNN recently? It's like Anderson Cooper or something.
Did he?
No, it was some other person.
No, it wasn't. Who was the guy? No, their CEO got kicked out recently.
Really?
Yeah, they got rid of the CEO.
Okay, but before the CEO, one of their hosts got
What's his
fired.
name is gone. The Lamone, Donald Lamone is gone.
Lamone.
That's what people call him. Donald Lamone. It's Don Lemon. He's gone.
Yeah, he
but
could take Don Lemon's place.
this is what Geeky Sparkles, she says, as long as we're clear, he said actual Nazi, not what the media would spin, because the modern definition seems to be anyone who doesn't like my show, ship, doesn't agree with me, or voted Republican, which is not usually the same thing as an actual Nazi. This is backed up by the fact that once you go down through the comments, it's really funny here. The very first response says, a little golden book, everyone I don't like is Hitler. And it goes through that. And then there's somebody it takes less than a page for somebody to say, don't you mean Republicans? So it's the journalist didn't have good intentions. I can't speak to what Harrison Ford's intentions are other than I don't think that he knows.
Well, it's funny that they asked him how would Indiana Jones feel about punching Nazis, and he was like, I would punch Nazis.
Yeah. It's just sad to me because the question's leading. It's done on purpose. It's bad journalism, and it's cleared for a soundbite. But it's made as an excuse for people to act violent when the real answer is, no matter who it is, you should not be committing any type of violent act on another person in the name of politics. It's not what you're supposed to be doing. And
if you had a meaningful life, you wouldn't even
need to, because you wouldn't care, right? And they're pushing back on this stuff, and they're like, it's a little bit of push every so often on the Overton window, right? Oh, it's okay when we do it as long as they push it little by little, little by little, little by little. And it's very frustrating because this is how it becomes part of the public consciousness. Oh, it's money. It's funny. See, it's a meme. There's a video of it. It's so funny when we talk about punching other people, not pointing out the fact that how you define that term is useless now because they call everyone a Nazi.
Okay, when the video, like back in 2017, when this was an actual topic of debate, when the video of Richard Spencer getting punched came out, I did find it funny, not because I, think that it's cool to punch your political adversaries, but because of like the meaninglessness and absurdity of it all, and how everyone in that situation looks pathetic.
Yeah.
Like, I was laughing at both of them.
They all kind of look very, very sad. Like, don't you have anything more meaningful in your life to go and do?
They don't.
Right? Like, it makes me sad, too, because I think about that for a lot of things. Like, a lot of the people that I see that are heavily involved... Oh, we got a $20 one from Deuce Boogaloo.
He said, if y'all like acting talks for cringe... Wait, what?
Acting talks.
Acting talks for a cringe of the day. Have you seen Succession talk yet? It's been a massive trend since season 4 started. There are a bunch of them, but the best is Taylor Grayson.
No, I haven't seen that. You'll have to send it my way.
But I haven't watched Succession, or I've watched like a couple of episodes of it, so I don't know if I would get the inside jokes.
Yeah. Most of the stuff that I watch is like YouTube shorts. It's all like Breaking Bad. I have no idea how it started getting sent to me, considering I haven't watched Breaking Bad in years. But I get like all of these like, it's like it's a scene from Breaking Bad, but they add them. It's basically it's got the music. It's got what's it called, the Andrew Tate music.
Yeah, the Sigma Male.
It's got somehow it's
soundtrack.
Like what does that have to do with Jesse Pinkman? I'm not exactly sure, but I guess kind of.
Well, the whole point of shows like Succession is that all of the characters are bad, and you don't sympathize with any of them, which is too close to reality at this point. Which is like on the topic that we're talking about, everyone is just looks like a clown and looks like a bad actor these days. So when I'm watching a TV show, I want there to be good guys and bad guys.
This is also another strike in the book for this movie.
Clear moral delineations.
Yeah. This is also another strike in the book for this movie, where after the horrible line from Phoebe Waller-Bridge about capitalism in the trailer, which just made me roll my eyes so much.
What was the line?
The beginning, it was like, they steal from them, I steal from you, you steal from... Like, basically, it's a bunch of people steal, and she says, that's capitalism, which is not what capitalism is.
And then that, plus the discourse about, like, communism and Ant-Man Quantumania.
Yep.
Like, this is supposed to be the most mindless entertainment available to us today.
Yep.
And you're still browbeating me with your politics in it.
And then they had another line about capitalism in Transformers. And I'm just like, dude, nobody in the 90s talked like that. No dude in Brooklyn in the 90s who just got his friend to give him a cable stealing black box was talking about this. And if he was, I don't buy that this writer knew it. This writer wrote that line because it's a Hollywood writer in the year 2023, and they've got their specific words they have to push. And that's just one of those words, is they have to talk about bringing down capitalism.
Was there anything else like that in Transformers? Or was it just in the...
It was, look, okay.
The one line.
The big problem I had with the movie is, okay, there's a jab at the at medicine. There's a jab at American healthcare because his brother's got sickle cell and then they're behind on their payments. And they're like, sorry, we can't treat you. It's been like they haven't paid their bill in 3 months. So there's definitely a jab at American healthcare there. All the people that he interacts with are awful to him, which makes no sense to me. In a movie where they're talking about humanity is good, and Optimus Prime's talking about, like we have to save humanity and work with the humans, but all the humans that this main character interacts with are just awful people. There's a cynicism to Hollywood now that comes with this along the same lines of when they discuss things like capitalism that is very, very annoying. It's very, very annoying, and it proves that they don't have anything to talk about. They have their buzzwords, and that's it. It's not interesting.
well, the writers aren't able to get outside of themselves into a story, especially one set in the 90s.
Yep.
Doesn't reflect the social climate.
Well, that was my big problem. Like you could have another thing before we get to that one is like look, they used a bunch of music from the 90s, which was really interesting because it's like a bunch of great rap songs that were all popular in the 90s, right? But here's the thing. Not all those songs came out at the same time in the 90s. They came out through multiple years, so it feels like a weird amalgamation of the time period. It would have been cooler for them to set a date, like this movie takes place on this date, maybe they did, and then only use music from that year rather than just the most notable Wu-Tang song. The most
farther away we get from the 90s, the more you're going to see of that, the less like living memory we have of it.
Yeah. Yeah, $20 one there from I Am What I Am.
I'm making up a lot of different kinds of homemade pickles. How can I send some to y'all?
I don't think we have a P.O. box anymore, man.
We don't eat food that's sent here.
You nothing that gets sent was ever stuff that like we couldn't ingest because nobody's taken that risk. It just
I mean, it could have been sent by like someone who thinks you should punch Nazis
or
poison them.
Yeah, what if that was
if you think that anyone who works at Timcast is a Nazi, well...
Rhaegar Targaryen says, sad to see Transformers went woke. I wouldn't say that the whole movie is that. Like I said, they did, to be fair, they got that stuff out of the way early on. It's like the writers like, I got to get my commentary in, and they got it out of the way earlier, and you don't see a lot of it later on. Also, the main girl, she has a boss who's just a dick and takes credit for everything. So they're both oppressed by the man in this movie. But yeah. So.
What does Harrison Ford mean when he says, that was a black and white world. This evil presented itself to the world. It's incalculable that this vision of evil not be confronted.
I have no. Like I'm assuming when he says it was a black and white world. I think he's referring back to when the initial Indiana Jones was made. The black and white, the world was seen in a realm of more black and white. Though oddly enough, I would say nowadays they push for more of the world to be seen that way. Your enemy is your enemy, right? They don't want you to see the world in shades of gray. They don't want to see the people you disagree with as having any redeeming qualities. They want everybody to be at each other's throats all the time. And that's very easy to do when you're making movies about Indiana Jones, which is a fantasy. In all respects, it's a fantasy. It's not real. Very easy to do that when that's going on.
I think that this interviewer will be disappointed to know that Nazis don't exist anymore because they're all dead. Yep. And that was an era of history that is over. Also,
they talk about it like it wasn't a political party. It was a political party. Yeah. That's not what it is now. That's also not how they define it now.
Harrison Ford followed this up saying, to see a threat of it in 1969, to know that Werner von Braun was a Nazi and worked for America on the space program after all we knew about his history and who he was associated with. I mean, these are shades of gray in a world we thought was black and white. It just seems like he's indicting America.
Yeah.
In that statement.
Yep.
But because sentiments like this are so popular, we don't have strongman actors like Harrison Ford anymore with hair on their arms.
Nope. We have Timothée Chalamet. We have the Timothée Chalamets of the world that are, to be fair, he's a good actor, but he's not.
When did Harrison Ford become critical of America?
I think somebody asked him once. Like there was somebody pointed out in one of these chats. They said, "Where was it? If it's true that he's saying that's a virtue, doesn't that mean he's calling himself a P word? Because last I checked, he ain't testing his hands on anybody who isn't getting paid to it." Somebody also asked him once, was he identified as a Democrat? So I don't know, man. It's very silly. The whole thing is very silly. And I think the biggest fault here is the reporter who just gave him a leading question that he knows he's not going to be able to give a right answer to. Mm-hmm. And it's a certain type of world where they are in this delusion. And I do believe this is true. A lot of these people, they don't realize that this isn't real. Like they've been led by Twitter and by MSNBC and CNN to believe that there is an alt-right Yahtzee around every corner, and that the world is falling apart. And a lot of times I find that what you see on the internet isn't the same as what's going on in the real world. How often do you encounter these things in the real world?
These replies are just
sending
so delusional. They're the scream that I scrummed.
The scream that I scrummed.
They say Harrison Ford reminds us that the evil of fascism must be confronted. Important point, especially now that extreme right-wing authoritarianism is rearing its ugly head again.
They never point out when that, like, how that's happening. Have you ever noticed that? Like, they never point out, like, how that's happening. I guess their point would be, like,
what planet do you live on?
They don't live in the same world as you and I, my friend. So.
But to be fair, I think Harrison Ford is Jewish himself. So
yes, he is.
He would probably feel this way anyway.
Or no, like that was somebody said, point out, like they said your mom is Jewish, or your dad and your dad was a Catholic or something like that. They're like, how do you identify? He goes, I identify as a Democrat or something like that. Yeah, somebody pointed that out in one of the comments here. I wish I'd saved that one.
He said that?
Yeah, it was an old thing, but
is he religious?
I don't think so.
Weird.
I don't know. That's a very good question.
His religion is being a Democrat.
What if he was actually talking about Ukraine and he's like going to take on the Azov battalion like right now? All right, we got some super chats there from the top.
Yes, we've got a lot actually.
Yep.
Yesh sent one without a message. Thank you. 1,000 Foot Deep End said, for old time's sake and to welcome Mary back. Bad app, I'm not reading that.
Where is Bad App these days? We miss him.
He's like living in a barrel somewhere. Porco Rosso Forever said, glad Mary returned safely from her Eat, Pray, Love tour.
Is that where you were?
Never say that again.
She's like, I'm not taking that slander.
I was going to Catholic churches. I was not meditating in Bali. Fresh Meat 999, thank you. We've got your username now.
Yep.
Irishima Otaru said, did you wear a back-to-back World War Champs shirt?
You should have done that.
Wait, what?
Because you were in France, back-to-back World War champs.
What is that?
America, we won World War I and II.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh. Yeah. I got to reinforce my xenophobia against the French. Quite Blackpilled said, welcome back, Mary Morrison. Mm-hmm. Hope you had a great European vacation.
Why so many Z's?
For Zins.
Oh, okay.
Heard it can get a little stabby over there. Glad you got back safe. I thankfully did not see any crimes.
No stabbings?
No stabbing.
Guys, hit the like button if you could, please. I'm just looking at our concurrent viewers with our likes. Could you hit the like button, please? I know that there was tech issues at the beginning of the show, but we've persevered. Please hit the like button.
Call Me Snow Possum said, so if you punch someone and they aren't a Nazi, then they can punch you back and you can't cry about it.
Yeah, but the problem is you're going to have a different definition of that word than whoever is the weirdo that's actually punching you because Harrison Ford told them to punch a Nazi.
Yeah.
All right, and one more from Sketch Therapy.
Sketch Therapy said, love boys, 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 but I missed Mary. Blessings to you too.
There you go. All right. Let's move on, shall we? Tell us about Megan. You were very excited about this story. You were very excited about Megan Fox.
Yeah, I just love when celebrities beef with conservative influencers, as I said. So recently, Robby Starbuck posted a picture of Megan Fox and her 3 kids.
We've got before we get started, we got a $20 one from Joe Schmo 32 Electric Boogaloo. Let's do that one.
He said,
and another one
see
from
the same
David
thing in a lot of Netflix movies. In the first 10 minutes, they make comments about the evils and prevalence of white supremacy that have nothing to do with the plot, and then the topic never comes up again.
Yes, and I fully believe that that's it's one of two things. Either the writers can't resist it and they have to get it in there somewhere, or the network has like some note, like we need some type of social commentary in here. I'm more inclined to believe the writers just really want to fit it in there somewhere, and they're desperate to prove to their literature professors in college that they're super woke like them. And then we have one more from Dave Gazuli.
He said, hey Bert, not only do you have a perfect face for radio, you also have a voice fit for print. Yikes. JK, I love you. I love all you people, even with the stream problems. Hashtag pop buffer crisis.
That's what it was. It was buffering crisis there for a little bit there. Yes, face for radio, voice for print. That's perfect.
That's not nice.
Let us get started now. Megan Fox.
Robby Starbuck recently posted a picture of Megan Fox with her kids that has gone viral in the last week. Her 3 sons are Noah, Bodie, and Journey. Interesting name choices from her marriage with Brian Austin Green. And she has been outspoken about letting them grow up in a gender non-conforming way, where they're just not, they're not raised within the bounds of being expected to dress like boys, which actually just means that she probably pressures them to dress like girls. And
you have to rigidly conform to my non-conformity.
Yeah, exactly. So this paparazzi photo was going viral. And a lot of celebrities trans their kids. Like, this is
Charlize Theron.
Yeah. So he said, "These are Megan Fox's sons. We used to live in the same gated community and our kids played at the park. I saw 2 of them have a full-on breakdown saying they were forced by their mom to wear girls' clothes as their nanny tried to console them. It's pure child abuse. Pray for them."
I will point out that at least in the photo that I'm looking at, they have long hair, but they're not all dressed.
The oldest one is wearing a shirt that says "Strong Girls."
Yes, but the other 2, I mean, I'm more upset by the knockoff Led Zeppelin merch.
I mean, you can't say that this is like how boys would ordinarily want to present themselves.
The hair,
without some outside influence.
The kid on the right, I don't know. It just looks like clothes to me. But
there are other pictures of
there's
kids
others
as well
that are way
show
more noticeable.
differently.
Yeah.
He said, more context. This was around 5 years ago, so they were younger than they are in this pic. There was another witness there and the nanny when the boys did this. It started with one and the other chimed in. Third child not involved. We knew California wouldn't do anything about it because the state celebrates this stuff and she's famous. Weirder wrinkle to this, I worked with Megan once on a small shoot about a year or so before she moved into our community, and she was very nice to me, so I was shocked when this happened later on. Just a very weird situation, but clearly those boys weren't happy. I never said anything about it publicly because they were so young, and I thought it would stop because they were vocally expressing their desire to wear boy clothes. We moved to Tennessee shortly after, and I saw this photo of the boys going around online this week. Really sad it didn't stop back then, and wish there was more we could have done back then, but there really wasn't anything we could do in California.
It should be fair to point out that her ex-husband says that this isn't true, whether that's just Kim covering or not.
Well,
I don't know.
Brian Austin Green went to TMZ and said this is a totally bogus story. There were only a few people in their world and that can actually verify whether or not a story like this is true. And I can tell you with absolute certainty it is not. This person trying to claim this is true is a perfect example of someone with selfish motives that does not care about negatively affecting a parent-child relationship. But you can't really argue with, firstly, it's proven that they were living in the same gated community in Calabasas called the Oaks. Multiple outlets reached out and verified that they shared addresses there at the same time. And then you have the one eyewitness there and the nanny who was there.
Yes! Pause.
And then we have...
Pause. It's party time. It's a fairly serious discussion, so continue.
And then we have Megan Fox's public comments. This is about her oldest son, Noah. She said Noah started wearing dresses when he was about 2. No 2-year-old is wearing anything that they specifically chose to wear. Yeah. They don't have.
Nor does it matter because they're a child, and that does not mean that they're a girl.
She said, I bought a bunch of books that sort of addressed these things and addressed a full spectrum of what this is. Some of the books are written by transgender children. That doesn't exist. Some of the books are just about how you can be a boy and wear a dress. You can express yourself through your clothing however you want, and that doesn't even have to have anything to do with your sexuality.
They're too young to understand these concepts.
She's clearly drunk the Kool-Aid, and this is not out of the ordinary for Hollywood. But what Robby Starbuck said on Twitter really got Megan Fox angry, and she clapped back on Instagram. First, she posted a picture of okay, this is like where it gets really weird. She posted a picture of a New York Post headline saying, stunned nurse, I caught witches holding a carcass eating ritual on my security camera. And she posted this on her Instagram story and captioned it, me outside Rob Starbuck's house, of this witch crouched down like an animal eating a dead animal carcass in this woman's lawn. So she's in a vague way threatening to go like hold some kind of witchcraft ceremony outside of Robby Starbucks' house. It's very strange. And then Robby Starbuck responded on Instagram. Well, she also posted something on her actual timeline, and it was a screenshot of his post. She said, "Hey, Robby Starbuck, I really don't want to give you this attention because clearly you're a clout chaser. But let me teach you something. Irregardless," she uses the word irregardless.
I love it when they use irregardless.
Irregardless of how desperate you may become at any given time to acquire wealth, power, success, or fame, never use children as leverage or social currency.
That's ironic.
The projection is real, especially under malevolent or erroneous pretense. She continued, "Exploiting my child's gender identity to gain attention in your political campaign has put you on the wrong side of the universe. I have been burned at the stake by insecure, narcissistic, impotent little men like you many times, and yet I'm still here. You effed with the wrong witch." The cringe. The cringe. So I guess she's saying that she's reincarnated from witches that were burnt at the stake.
Makes perfect sense. I wonder if the witches that were burned back then were that hot, maybe, yeah.
But I mean, quite literally what she's doing is exploiting her child's quote unquote gender identity to gain attention. Not in a political campaign, but in her industry.
The chances of 3 children all having been born in the wrong body is not just astronomical. It's impossible. It's not realistic. It's a social construct here. I'm sorry. Like me, who's normally
I don't think that a child can be transgender. No. Like,
in this case...
Point blank, period. It's not anything that comes from anyone but their parents or caregivers.
And it's overwhelmingly showing itself in celebrities in Hollywood, where it becomes part of their identity. It's basically they turn the child into a purse puppy. It's an accessory for them to share with the world. And
people shared the story of Angelina Jolie's daughter, Shiloh, being like raised as a boy, identifying as a boy, going by a different name. Wearing suits and stuff to red carpet premieres as a child, and then eventually realizing that she was born to live as a woman in society and begins presenting that way. People posted this story as some kind of success story of like raising a kid without the bounds of gender structures and gender roles, when in reality it would have been so much better for any child to not have to go through this like journey of self-discovery in the first place, because it's a given that generally 99.9 something % of people don't need to even think about this. Like gender dysphoria is not a common thing. And if someone goes through that later in life, then that's for them to deal with as an adult. Not for them to be introduced to the idea at like 2 years old.
When it's going to do nothing but confuse them.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So the confusion was unnecessary in the first place, and she could have just been raised as a tomboy that whole time. Like
that's what
actual gender nonconformity is telling her that she can be a woman but also not look feminine. Not telling her that she's a boy. That is just like, that's actually imposing more gender role expectations on a kid. It's the opposite of what you're saying it is, you know? So then Robby Starbuck responded to this post on Instagram. He commented, "I don't even have a political campaign, Megan. I lived in the same gated community as you in Calabasas, not naming it because I don't know if you still live there or not. Our kids played together there. Ask your nanny. She was the one bringing them to the park, not you." Oof. "I have photos of our kids playing because they played so regularly. Your boys were very sweet, as I said in that thread, and the outburst of emotion was sad for all of us, including our kid who witnessed it. An independent adult witnessed this, and I have a text from them about it. You can DM and I'll show it to you privately. I only said something now because I hadn't followed along after we moved and figured change would ensue after that incident, but I saw this photo online, realized that it continued, and that brought it all to the surface where it felt necessary to say something. Very sad to see it didn't stop. I'm not afraid of witchcraft. I'll pray for you and your boys. It's you who needed to hear that this happened. Maybe you'll investigate those feelings that burst out when you see the independent text or photos that I'll happily send you. I firmly believe that what I have witnessed should never happen to a child. I have Jesus, so I'll never fear witchcraft, but I'm happy to provide photos or texts for you to think about. As for clout chasing, I'm not the one doing a blood drinking ritual for attention. I'm speaking up, and if I'm guilty of anything, it's not doing so sooner.
He's also plenty successful on his own.
Yeah, he was in this business, living in the same gated community.
You don't live in Calabasas unless you're
as Megan
successful.
Fox. He didn't need to clout chase anyway. And it's true, he doesn't have a political campaign. He's not running for office. But he did give these screenshots to Evie magazine for us to see. And he reached out to this independent witness that was there and said, hey, do you remember when Megan Fox's sons were crying about wearing girls' clothes? And they said, hi, yes, I still remember. Why? I never saw those kids anymore. They've moved from the Oaks too. So obviously screenshots can be doctored, whatever, but why would he have a reason to go this far if it didn't happen?
Yeah.
I find it totally believable. Yeah. And it's sick.
I don't know if there's anything you can do to stop it in Hollywood. Now with the advent of social media, where it's not just the celebrity who's part of their brand, right? Like their entire family is now part of their brand. This stuff will keep happening and will get worse. Likely. We have a $20 super chat from Disco Jensen. Says, am I the only one who thinks it's weird that tomboys are young girls into traditionally male things, but lady boys are trans men?
Wait, I'm not getting the comparison.
So I've never even heard the term lady boys.
I don't know.
I've never heard that term before.
But I mean, yeah, there are girls and there are little girls and little boys out there who maybe don't have traditionally feminine or masculine hobbies, and they don't maybe fit in socially for that reason. But that doesn't mean that you need to introduce them to a bunch of academic jargon.
Yeah, the problem is she went and bought those books that she thinks are the right answer and likely just written by activists.
Like, you don't need to put them on pills or injections or medicalize them just because they don't socially conform to your narrow idea of what a girl or a boy should be. You're the one with the narrow gender roles. I think conservatives actually have the more balanced view on this.
Yeah, they oddly enough have a very binary idea of what being a boy or a girl is in a world where the ones who are being called bigoted are the ones who are like, look, no, we're actually agreeing something is a spectrum. You can actually just be a girl who likes to play football and wear jeans instead of a skirt. You don't have to just be a rigid definition because it's always over the top, right? The same thing happens when they end up, like when a guy dresses up as a girl, right? They give a cartoonish idea of what femininity looks like. It's overblown, over the top idea of it, right? Like when we see the drag performances, granted, I understand drag is a performance. It's not the same thing as cross-dressing, but a lot of times when you see that stuff, they show you an over-the-top version of what the other gender looks like.
I mean, it's a minstrel show of women, basically. I find it degrading to women. And I didn't always like put those pieces together, but it certainly is. And I think there are a lot of gay men who are misogynistic.
Did you see? I saw the thing the other day. It would have been great for Cringe. It says like Dylan Mulvaney puts on leggy display at so and so premiere, and I was like, can he not?
What?
Can we not have the leggy displays from Dylan Mulvaney? I'll pay you money to not show me the Dylan Mulvaney leggy pictures.
People were recently posting some new pictures of Dylan Mulvaney. He went blonde and bleached his eyebrows, and they were like, see, this will really show the conservatives that this is a real woman. And it's like, no, we still think that you look disturbing.
See the backlash against like Garth Brooks? Garth Brooks is like, I'm going to still serve Bud Light. And I'm just laughing because I think the boycotts are... Granted, the boycotts seem to be working. These companies are taking huge hits. But it's just really funny, like, watching all the people fight. Like, never if I had looked at the end of the world bingo card would I have thought that I'd be seeing, like, John Rich arguing with Garth Brooks over Bud Light beer.
And never did I think I would see Megan Fox and Robby Starbuck getting in an internet spat about the way that Megan Fox dresses her kids up.
Just, I didn't have that one on my end of the world bingo card. It wasn't there.
But yeah, like Megan Fox, if your goal was to look cray-cray, you accomplished that, I guess.
Well, I mean, it's part of her brand, right? She does the blood drinking with her boyfriend that's younger than her, and she looks like she's supposed to forever trap in court this young look, and she wants to feel young, and she wants to feel like the cool mom. And the cool mom understands that gender is not a binary, and the cool mom understands that just because your son wanted to wear a dress when he was 2 means that he's actually a girl, and you should put him on hormones. And
dude, the cool mom used to be the mom that says, you can drink as long as you do it under my roof, and now the cool mom is like, we should put you on puberty blockers.
You can take your HRT, you just have to do it under this roof.
Yeah.
I'm taking your car keys if you want to take your take your hormonal. If you want your hormone replacement therapy, you have to do it here where it's safe. Park your car in the back. It'll be fine.
We live in such an insane world.
We really do. And it's scary too, because look, Megan Fox is not losing popularity. If anything, she's becoming more popular these days. She's got more movies coming out. She stays relevant in the news all the time with these types of stories, or the ridiculous stories of her with MGK and their, whatever they're doing with their blood drinking and their weird rituals. And then they wonder why Tyrese Gibson is going on doing interviews where he's like, they're trying to normalize the devil. Well, gee, I wonder. Are they trying to normalize the devil? And then they're like, no, you're crazy. And then they gaslight you and say, no, you're crazy. It's always been this way, dude.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy. It just makes no sense to me.
I wanted to add one more thing that Robby Starbuck posted from an interview that Megan Fox gave in May this year. It says she knew her oldest son didn't want to subscribe to gender stereotypes from the time that he was in the womb. She admits she is raising all 3 boys gender neutral. Does she really think anyone believes she didn't push this on him, on them? Here's her quote. When I became pregnant with Noah, I could feel, through my mother's intuition, I suppose, that he was not subscribing to gender stereotypes. So I decided to provide an environment for him early on that would allow him to discover how he wanted to express himself.
These narcissistic
She knew from the womb that her son was non-binary.
These narcissistic celebrities are insane.
Just saying, look into the correlation between the mothers of so-called transgender children and rates of borderline personality disorder and histrionic personality disorder.
It's always the moms.
It's a real thing. I mean, why is it that moms always have Munchausen's by proxy and not fathers?
It's always the moms.
Something to think about. Little food for thought there.
You know what? We gave them the right to vote, and then this happens. I hate it when that. I'm kidding. It's a joke.
I'm not kidding.
It's a joke. Everyone's like.
And then Elon Musk, possibly referencing this situation, said that he was looking for a VP of Witchcraft and propaganda.
That was my favorite part. I think he's just
at Twitter or at Tesla.
I think he's just shooting a shot. Personally, I think
Megan Fox is definitely his type. She's crazy enough.
Yep, he's like
crazy, hot, moderately intelligent. Megan Fox is probably in that like prison state where you're like just intelligent enough where you can tell the ceiling of your intelligence. So she just has a wide vocabulary, and
then you look at her and you're like, oh my gosh, she's so hot, and she uses irregardless in a sentence. Oh my god,
she's definitely a smart hot girl, not a hot smart girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that really bothers her.
Wait, no. Like, what makes someone a smart hot girl as opposed to a hot smart girl?
If you're primarily a hot girl, you're a smart hot girl.
Oh.
If you're primarily a smart girl, you're a hot smart girl.
Okay, yeah.
So she's primarily hot, obviously,
yes.
But she's got like a 115 to 120 IQ. Yeah. So she's got like a wide vocabulary. Thinks that she's way more intelligent than she is, and is really insecure that she's been valued for her looks all her life.
That's all Michael Bay's fault for all
and
that.
And it's Michael Bay's fault. Yeah, really we have one person to blame.
I still remember when she got mad. She's like, he made me work 12 to 15 hours a day, and everyone's like, oh, geez, what are you gonna do with those long work days, like making millions of dollars?
That must have been so hard for you.
For being smoking hot and saying no. And by the way, I still like her better in Transformers than I like any of the ones like I like Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox more than I like Mark Wahlberg and the people involved in those ones or these new ones. I still put Shia at the top with Megan Fox.
What did you think of the Expendables trailer?
I thought it was fine. Mostly action. So I will absolutely go see that one. Mm-hmm. So, all right. So Megan, maybe you could just stop pushing your own ideology on the kids. That would be great.
Yeah,
that'd be great. Let's go to some super chats.
Deuce Boogaloo said, let's be real. We all know Mary is the one messing with the stream, so y'all can wrap up early and she can get the free food. No, it's fine.
As like
I'm good, I'll live.
Cannot confirm nor deny.
But it might be my Fed colleagues. Shane H. Wilder said, Padre Pio is $6.99 on Prime. I wrote a review I'm posting tomorrow. I'll send you a link then. Also, that photo from Lourdes was beautiful. Saint Bernadette is my mom's patron saint.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah,
it was a really beautiful town. It's not a city. What were you saying?
Patron saint?
My patron saint is Mary.
There you go.
So I kept it simple. Sean Easton said, we already read that one. The White Trash Panda said, Return of the Ghost Girl.
Is the second one supposed to be you? Because that's a very dark-haired ghost girl. Or is that just, is the ghost and then the girl, it's the ghost and then the girl?
No Tax, Good Tax said, when I went to Paris, they were fairly nice and not rude. They did get annoyed if you didn't greet them before asking questions because that is seen as rude.
I mean, who asks questions before greeting someone? Or you say, say...
No, you have to greet them before asking questions. But, I guess I noticed that. It's like in America, you'll have a lot of interactions with people like a store or a restaurant or gas station where they like don't want to talk to you at all. Yeah. And they'll just swipe your card. But I don't think that's a thing in France. They always are like cordial and say like, bonjour. Yeah. Wayward Soul said, welcome back, Mary. Brett, Intuition Skate Shop were out of the Razors SL in my size, so they upgraded me to, I don't know how to say that. Genesis?
It's Genesis, yeah.
Thanks for the recommend.
Yeah, let me know how that works out for you, man. I hope you enjoy the skates.
Rockstar Podcast said, I love and support everything you do. Everything?
Everything?
Everything I do? I don't know.
And then let's read two more, and then we'll move on. We're down to Corn Pop and then Hypothesis.
Corn Pop said, he just sent us a little lemon sticker. Thank you.
I like it.
Hypothesis said, so punk going pop helped create Antifa? Figures.
Okay.
Those were good albums. I don't want to hear anything about Punk Goes Pop.
And do one more. Do Kai.
I don't want to hear counter signaling. Or was it Punk Goes Pop or Pop Goes Punk?
It was no, it's Punk Goes Pop because it would be punk singers singing pop. My favorite
was pop songs.
My favorite was the one where Framing Hanley did "Lollipop" by Lil Wayne, and it's like a hardcore It's hardcore, but it's the song "Lollipop" by Lil Wayne.
I liked the cover of "Boyfriend" by Justin Bieber, and also "Pierce the Veil's Just the Way You Are."
There you go. Kai says, commies, the other white meat. Okay.
Wouldn't they be pink on the inside?
Yeah, you'd think. All right, let's move on, guys. Let's talk about Millie Bobby Brown. Let's talk about intimacy coordinators, and let's talk about a little bit of hypocrisy in the gender roles, shall we? In this discussion, intimacy coordinator slams Millie Bobby Brown for boasting about forcibly kissing a male co-star in her Netflix's Enola Holmes movie. She says it's not the cute story you think it is. This actually seems more like what she's saying is like, maybe read the room. You're not reading the room of the social climate the way you should be.
The intimacy coordinator?
Yeah, like what she's saying is like, you're not reading the room on the social climate we're living right now. Maybe in their world, things haven't changed, but in the real world now, we're supposed to be looking at things differently. Now, consent is a thing, and it doesn't matter if you're a guy or a girl, right?
Nobody freaked out when we found out that Margot Robbie kissed Brad Pitt without his consent. Yep. So how is the situation?
And let's be fair, like people say, it's probably different, right? You shouldn't do it. You shouldn't do it. You should not just plant one on somebody without consent. But
she's saying she did this during a scene. Was she saying it was behind the scenes that she? Yeah,
like so look, nobody, no red-blooded American male is getting a smooch laid on them by Margot Robbie, for instance, and saying, "Oh darn." It did remind me of the conversation we had the one time. Was it Katy Perry who gave the guy his first kiss but never asked the guy if that was actually what he wanted?
Yeah, it was that was far more a bizarre encounter because he just said that he hadn't had his first kiss, and then she immediately walked up to him and kind of forced it on him.
So this is what Millie Bobby Brown is saying. This is during rehearsal.
Yeah, so if you're rehearsing a scene where you have a kiss anyway.
But she's saying unexpectedly kissed Louis Partridge. Laughing, she described how the actor was shocked and surprised and stated how it was, quote, so cute. Says right on the rehearsal, I grabbed his face and kissed him, and he was like, it was so cute. Really seeing her Enola take the lead, and also seeing a girl just make the first move is really exciting.
Yeah, all of the Enola Holmes first movie seemed to be feminist.
Yeah.
Garbage.
Because Lewis is a good friend, she talks about how she also punched him and was like really punching him
in a fight scene?
in like a fight,
Yeah.
and says like, and I was really punching. It's really funny. She says she also talked about how the scene she had to punch Partridge, and that she went absolutely full force on the actor. Brown added that since the two were friends, she was not acting, she was actually getting him in the stomach. Quote, because Lewis is a good friend, I just kept punching him. I wasn't doing stunts. I was really hurting him. I really was hurting him. By the end of it, he said, Millie, can you just fake punch me? I was fully getting him right in the stomach. Like, sorry, like maybe you shouldn't do that either.
She just like sucker punches him, totally unrelated to filming, and says like, I'm a method actor.
It's like, you know, when you're on a playground and the girl that punches you and is the one that's secretly interested in you. She's feigning her interest by pretending she doesn't like you by punching her.
Millie,
if that's
Millie
true,
is
she
an
really likes this
engaged
guy.
woman about to get married, so that would not be appropriate.
It would not.
Let's watch the video from the intimacy coordinator,
hold on.
who looks completely unhinged. You can see it in the eyes.
It is exactly what you imagine an intimacy coordinator looks like.
Or any HR representative.
Yes. All right, here we go.
Wrapped his face and kissed him, and he was like this. It was so cute.
Oh no. I love Millie Bobby Brown, but this is not the cute story
no.
you think it is. Anyway, I'm sure she and her scene partner have a lot of rapport built up and a great amount of trust, but we should never be surprising anyone during a fight or intimate scene, ever. At the end of the day, this basically means she didn't ask consent to kiss him. And when your scene partner reacts in surprise after you kissed them, that means the communication didn't happen the way it really needs to. Little things like this can escalate over time, and frankly, she has more power in that situation than he does because she's a really well-known star. When we do spicy scenes, we love keeping it light, having fun, but consent...
I guarantee you it's not fun. No. It's not. If that lady's there telling you what you can and cannot do, it's the opposite of fun. Mm-hmm. It's fun backwards. It's nuff.
Wearing weird nude-colored underwear, using devices, and having every move choreographed and scripted out.
And then Sean Bean's over here like, I just like to figure it out as we go.
We've learned from Marilyn Manson, you cannot figure it out as you go.
No, not in 2023. Look, like, I understand this is the same thing I point out all the time. It's the hypocrisy that bothers me. If this was a guy doing this would be a problem. It's still technically a problem, but I do believe that the guy probably doesn't care, and the guy probably is just like.
But for obvious reasons, Netflix didn't post an interview where Louis Partridge says, "Yeah, I just forced myself on Millie Bobby Brown, and it was
grabbed
awesome.
her, and she was so shocked. It was fantastic.
It was so funny and cute.
It was so cute the way she was surprised at the way I manhandled her and forced my lips on hers.
Yes, it's a double standard, but I think it's one that makes sense. You were saying that Phil had a good point on this.
Well, when we were talking about the differences between men and women, like teachers that have relationships with students, that when a male teacher has even a consensual relationship with a female student, it's seen as worse than when a female teacher has a consensual relationship with a male student because there's no threat of violence against the male student. It's still wrong, but I don't know what his take on that part is like, but it's still like, I still see it as the hypocrisy that bothers me more than anything.
But I think we've been so thoroughly conditioned to think that there is no difference between men and women. That we're just completely,
and it's politically incorrect to say
homogenous
otherwise.
Automatons.
It's politically incorrect to now say otherwise.
Any standards that are different for men and women are considered double standards or hypocrisy or what have you. When it's not a double standard, it's just what was considered a standard up until like the 2010s.
Yeah.
Like, that was just the way that we operated in society, knowing, obviously, that there are differences both physically and mentally between men and women.
Also, maybe this would bother me more if Millie Bobby Brown was spouting outward feminism that was directly in contradiction to what she's saying here, which is, but she's not, so I don't know. Like, it's just very, very funny how some stuff's allowed and some stuff isn't, and you have to get a flow chart to figure out what society tells you is okay. And to the intimacy coordinator's credit, I guess. It's not like she's taking the woman's side. She's not making this a gendered issue. If anything, she's saying that what you're doing. She brought up power dynamics.
Yeah.
The power dynamics got brought up
because she's a bigger star than her co-star. Yeah. But then once you start using that rule of like who is the biggest star, how do you calculate that? Yeah. You know, especially with like Margot Robbie and Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Like Brad Pitt is the bigger star, yes. But then at some point, like if someone's going to go to jail over this type of dispute, you can't really rely on that standard alone.
Well, power dynamics is by definition very wishy-washy and hard to actually figure out what people mean by that, right? Like it doesn't have a solid line as to what means what. Mm-hmm. So
I think I've obviously said, you know, I'm against sex scenes in movies. I don't think that should be a thing. I'm like pro censorship of that type of content, or at least like pushing it underground so it's not mainstreamed. But the fact that intimacy coordinators exist at all, and this is like a line of work in Hollywood, shows that these are the types of scenes you really shouldn't even endeavor to film, because if so many people can get hurt in so many ways, what is the point?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have stunt coordinators in the exact same way, right?
Well, I mean, hurt psychologically.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is harder to quantify and a lot easier to make us think about later. Like, look, you break your leg on a set, you broke your leg on a set. You have your
There's no one to really blame for that necessarily. But when there's another person...
No, you can absolutely blame the studio for having a poorly done stunt team.
But it's less cut and dry. But when there's a sex scene and one person is uncomfortable, but the other person isn't uncomfortable... Yeah. Then immediately the one who isn't uncomfortable is seen as the perpetrator of some kind of
also the blame game is
violation.
Different. Like oddly enough, if it was a stunt that went wrong, I think all the blame would end up on the stunt coordinator, not the stunt man who screwed it up, or like if it involves two people, right? It's going to fall back on who's in charge here. It's never going to fall back on the intimacy coordinator if one of these things happen.
Right.
Like it's always going to fall on the star, the one that was supposedly making things uncomfortable.
Right.
And so it really is just a purely bureaucratic position, the intimacy coordinator. It's literally just HR.
And they exist, as I've said, to protect the studio from liability, not to protect the stars from physical or psychological harm. And then I looked at the comments on this intimacy coordinator's TikTok. They said, I don't think they were meant to kiss. I think he didn't know and that she was going to make a big first move. You can see it by the next bit. She says that he was so shocked.
Yeah.
So like maybe that wasn't even in the script.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, maybe we don't have enough context to criticize.
Somebody else pointed out that she's also a producer on the show, so the power imbalance is even more crazy.
Yeah. Another person commented, I think people forget that this isn't just a kiss. This is a professional environment. If this were to happen in any other profession, it wouldn't be, or no, it would be sexual harassment.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's why like Hollywood is the way it is.
Yeah.
It's like entirely degenerate all the way around, and no matter how you spin it.
But the thing is, like, when Margot Robbie says that, that's echoes of a time past when gender roles were a lot. Like Margot Robbie says, I wasn't gonna pass up a chance to plant a kiss on Brad Pitt. That's something that would have been popular or said a decade ago or 2 decades ago. Nobody would have thought twice about it. It would have just been part of the culture. And he, as a man, would have been expected to say, well, you know what? She's pretty, so I guess it's fine, right? Maybe it is to him, maybe it isn't. Maybe he's somebody like Neil McDonough who takes his vows very seriously and doesn't even do romantic scenes with women, doesn't kiss other women on screen out of respect for his wife.
I also wanted to touch on like...
We have a $20 super chat from Bullet Shepherd.
He said, when women agree to do away with the 19th Amendment, I'll agree to different standards. Until then, they need to deal like men.
Like my point when I was pointing out the problem.
We'll just make sure we convene at the all women conference.
Let us know, right?
And decide on that.
But I do want to point out. I said my issue with the male female thing with the teacher was the fact that they're talking about it under different definitions legally. One's being charged with sexual assault, the other one's being charged with sexual misconduct, which sound very different and are very different. So I don't like that just because one gender supposedly has more of a risk of being harmed means that if they can commit the same crime, yes, more women are likely to be harmed while committing a bank robbery than men, but they shouldn't be charged with a lesser crime.
Okay, sure.
And there's another $20 one from I Am What I Am.
He said, Master Yoda says, explosions more you must have.
Have you ever seen the one that says, why are the Star Wars movies? I asked Master Yoda, why are the Star Wars movies out of order? He says, he's like, I ordered them. I did. Like, it's fantastic.
I wanted to touch on this other aspect of it, which is like, why do all the movies have to make women make the first move?
That's
now?
feminist. That is feminist
Just
propaganda.
like The Little Mermaid.
That has been happening for years and longer than like Hollywood
This doesn't
has
appeal to
traditionally.
women.
Hollywood has traditionally, in the last 20 years especially, portrayed women as more outwardly forceful sexually than the real world implies.
I mean, look at porn. It literally does that same thing.
Yeah, but that's I mean,
and it changes people's perceptions of the way women think and behave. It
exactly.
does.
So like television has done this for years and years and years and years and years. I wish I could give some. I wish I had known we were going to talk about this because it's one of those things that I point out anytime I see it in movies. I'm like, where are these women that are just out here being that sexually aggressive all the time?
The porn stars.
But I'm not watching. I'm watching
yeah.
I'm watching network television shows. I'm not watching cable. I'm not watching shows where it would seem like it would be in. And these are shows that aren't even doing sex scenes. They're just showing women as being more likely to make the first move and be forceful. And you know why? It's because it also implies the narrative where then they get to push in like, well, you just don't like it because
you don't like strong women.
Exactly.
You don't like women who assert themselves. And it's true. Men don't like women who assert themselves all the time. It's unattractive. And also these storylines where women are constantly the aggressors or like they're making the first move, they're the initiators, they say everything out loud. It doesn't appeal to the female viewership either. This is not the type of story that women want to see. And it doesn't play to the strengths of women, which is nonverbal communication. And it doesn't play to the desires of women, which is to be pursued.
We haven't seen that
it just doesn't resonate.
And they can't, because if a male is shown as pursuing, he is seen as a creep. In fact, and they've done plenty of that. All of these women who get pursued in these movies and television shows, they cast the guy off and the guy's portrayed in a one-dimensional way where he asks her out or he buys her a drink at a bar and he very clumsily says a bunch of really, really misogynist things. It's never shown in a way that's actually fair to the men in the situation.
You've probably seen a lot of women posting, like probably humble bragging about the ways that they've like rejected men in bars or rejected catcallers or whatever. They're signaling that they have desirability, but at the same time are making some feminist overture about it, like they're so scandalized or offended that a man approached them. And then it just makes men ask, like, where is it acceptable to talk to women anymore?
It's not.
Are we quickly approaching the age of like male chaperones?
Well, no, let me rephrase it. It is
again,
if you're hot. If you're a hot guy, you're allowed. If you're
I'm not
a
even sure
mediocre looking guy, you're not allowed.
I'm not even sure of that. I mean,
thank you.
Thank you.
See, that's how I'm going to get the women. I'm going to bring a boombox.
No, you bring your barbershop quartet and serenade her.
Well, technically it's a duet. It's a barbershop duet.
Right.
And we're going to bring a boombox that plays it, and they're going to sing that as I swoop in and say, hey, how's it going? That's what we're going to do. That's how I'm going to pick up all the ladies someday.
Well, I have already given you the best pickup line idea.
What was it?
When the woman's walking into the movie theater, you'd be like, hey, I thought they didn't allow snacks in there.
No snacks in from the outside, girl.
Yeah.
Yes. So we'll have to. It's like
Want to go see Oppenheimer with me?
We'll film that video and see how many women slap me and just see what happens. It'll be fantastic.
That would go viral.
It's like it'd be something about like, do you want to go see Oppenheimer because your body's the bomb? Like we'll bring back the bomb.
But yeah, I think not even bars are considered like an acceptable place to hit on women now.
I think this is extremely high double standard that the women are okay with it as long as the guy's attractive. But what women now see as attractive, remember, dating apps show it's like, he better be a perfect 10.
The way that women use dating apps is not to find dates, it's to get attention.
And we got a $20 super chat from Disco Jensen.
Women in Hollywood Me Too'd all the powerful men out and immediately proceed to Me Too themselves on camera. Mindy Kaling is guilty also.
Yep.
What is it that Mindy Kaling admitted to doing?
It was something very. I can look it up here. We talked about it.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah. So let's see.
She like hired someone just to make advances at them or something.
Yeah, Mindy
She was a
Kaling
producer on the
harassing
show.
Lee Pace isn't the cute and see, they even use the same language. They all come from the same Borg. I swear. Mindy Kaling's harassing Lee Pace isn't the cute anecdote she thought it was. She says, do you ever feel like having that much power on your show has led to you being unprofessional because power can corrupt? And she said, but we had this one actor on the show named Lee Pace. She went on, a real gentleman. He came on the show and we had to do this flashback sequence where we were in bed together in college and we're supposed to just be having a conversation. But he's so tall. He's so handsome. That's in the middle of the scene. I was supposed to be like, what do you think, Mindy? And at this point, she just imitates that she just started kissing him.
Yeah.
Also, it's funny. I think I told this story before. There's another actress, and I can't remember her name off the top of my head, who said that she was in a scene with like she was in a movie with Lee Pace, and she saw him in a suit on set and had to leave because he was so handsome she couldn't take it. So he must be that good looking of a
Really?
dude.
I don't know what he looks like.
I thought he was kind of a normal looking dude, but
Maybe it's just his charisma.
he must have, as the Gen Zers would say, his riz must be off the chart.
Yeah.
He must have hella riz. Like, look, it's a double standard. I do believe that Hollywood is 100% created a culture where both men are not allowed to pursue women in any way, shape, or form, lest they be viewed as some type of creepy predator. And women are being simultaneously portrayed as far more sexually aggressive than they actually are in the real world. And it's causing problems for everyone. It's the same problems we're seeing, right? There's a strong sense of miscommunication between the genders.
Mm-hmm. Did you see Emily Ratajkowski saying like men are lonely and it's bad, dangerous for everyone?
Yeah, but what she's saying
What
is
was
like
the context there.
What she's saying is like it's going to create another Joker situation, and the incels are going to rise up.
Okay. She could have had a rare W there.
The rare Ratatouille L.
Ratatouille.
It's not a thing. Ratatouille L or Ratatouille W's are not a thing.
Okay, let's go to Super
Let's do
Chats. Bad Kitty Mama said, I don't know if you ever shared my kitty. Can I resend anyway?
Yes, you can. As a matter of fact, you are more than welcome to do so.
Hypothesis said, speaking of 90s, anyone else think Endeavor might bring back the Attitude Era, or at least the Ruthless Aggression Era?
It would be more likely to see the Ruthless Aggression Era come back, but the hard part about that is a lot of the humor isn't going to work these days because not only is culture just a lot more sensitive, but it would be very, very different between the men and the women, the way that they're portrayed now that women are not just seen as kind of ringside girls or managers. There is very much a very, very strong female wrestling presence in and of itself. It would be interesting to see, but I just think that the world and our humor and the way we see wrestling these days is just so much different than it was back in the early 2000s. But it would be interesting to see them try, but I don't think that's really going to happen because the one reason that Vince McMahon was willing to sell to Endeavor is because it allowed him to maintain creative control, because Vince McMahon will die before he gives up control of that company. Even after selling it, he had to sell it to a company that would let him stay in power. So
Deuce Boogaloo said, Brett, something you forgot to mention in your Transformers review is all the bad human characters that are present are also the only white characters.
Yes, I left it out.
Coincidence?
I left it out because there was people in there that I couldn't remember, and I didn't remember if that was the same thing. But yes, so the guy he goes to the job interview with, yes. The guy that the lady who he meets at the hospital, yes. The awful lady who is the credit hog for the girl character, yes. But at the same time, like Michael Kelly at the end, who's the guy for the G.I. Joes, is so. I get what you're saying, and I think you're right, but I didn't feel like it warranted a mention because as much as that's part of it, I think it's just anti-human. I think that it says a negative message about humans in general. Hollywood just seems to be held up heavily on the racial aspect. In fact, if they had just made one of those characters that was mean to him another race, it probably would have changed my opinion on why they were being so mean to everybody. It very much felt like it was part of the agenda.
Kai said, I am bad app now.
Ah, yes, he
I don't know
is.
if you want to be bad app.
I guess he is.
How many people remember bad app?
A lot of the people in
this
the
point.
chat still remember Bad App.
Kai said, at Fear Me It's Bree, yes, Megan Fox is a monster.
A smoking hot monster.
She doesn't look like it, at least.
No, she's the opposite of that look. I mean, but isn't that kind of like would that be like the female version of the Antichrist? She won't
She's
show
not
up as a
nearly-
monster. She'll show up as a smoking hot Hollywood thespian.
I'm pretty sure the Antichrist is going to be male, but she's still not likable enough.
But
to be
is
the
there a
Antichrist.
female analog to like the Antichrist? If the Antichrist is expected to be male, is there a female analog as something that's like
Lilith?
there you go. Like
Maybe.
yep.
Wyatt Derp said, all of my kids were born in the wrong bodies. Maybe they're born with it. Maybe it's Munchausen syndrome by proxy.
Somebody should sing that in the Maybelline
Yeah.
tone.
Quite Blackpilled said, old news, but did y'all hear Rob Smith got, what is this?
I don't know.
Kavish with his buddy at a cabana after tennis. I don't know what that means.
I don't know.
Fear Me It's Bree said, my 4-year-old son wanted to wear a Batman tracksuit on an 80-degree day. Kids don't know what's good for them, so let them choose genders. Sure.
There's
I mean, even that could be a lesson learned.
There's an Instagram account that I love by this lady called Kayla Sullivan. She's a reporter, and she does the thing where she goes, this just in, and she talks as if she's doing a news report, but it's stuff about her being a mom. And it's very adorable.
Oh, I think I might have seen one
Yeah,
of these.
I've probably sent you a couple of them, and they're very, very adorable. But she has a son that won't wear anything but a Spider-Man outfit. He will only wear Spider-Man. And
Kids just freaking love Spider-Man
Yep,
for no reason.
he's Spider-Man. He's awesome.
Why that one? Like,
Because he's the web slinger. Because he's Peter Parker. They love Spider-Man.
there are too many like mom TikTokers that just openly hate their kids. It's really sad to watch. Rockstar Podcast said ladyboy is a term used in Thailand in Thai culture.
That was retracted on mine, so I don't know if he meant for that one to be read. But
Oops.
I think it's retracted.
Too late now.
Yeah.
Just so you know, guys, if you retract a message, it's still visible to me.
Yes, I can't see it once it's retracted, but it still shows up on the spreadsheet. Do one more, and then we'll move on.
Kai had a couple here. He said, no such thing as chicks with deleted #badapp.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. He said, if Margot Robbie kissed me, the only embarrassing part would be my laundry.
You know what? You're not wrong, buddy.
Come on.
Like I'm saying, I'm not saying that it's completely out of the realm of reality that, like, if Margot Robbie walks up to you and just says, doesn't say anything, just plants one on you, am I really going to complain? No. First thing I'm going to say is, did you know we have the same birthday? To see if it then sprouts.
And she'd start asking you questions about your sign.
And then maybe it would be like, she's like, it's kismet, and she'll kiss me again. That's what I'm hoping for.
Do you think that she's into astrology?
She kind of looks like she's too good of a businesswoman.
Yeah.
She's too good of a businesswoman to be into astrology. Now, Margot, who is it? Like Millie Bobby Brown? Maybe she'll be into astrology one day. I don't know.
She's a flat earther.
Is she?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe she's a hollow earther too. That would be even better. All right, let's hold off on the rest and let's come back, shall we? So, let's talk about Demi Lovato. So not that long ago, just a couple years ago, Demi Lovato says, look, I have they, them pronouns. You shall refer to me by they, them pronouns because that's who I am. I don't know whether I'm a woman. I don't know how I feel. It's different depending on the day, thus the new pronouns. Well, she has since given that up because she says it's too exhausting. It's too difficult to explain it to everyone because everybody else has too much to do in the day and they don't have time to indulge in your ridiculousness.
Trust us, Demi Lovato. Your pronouns are just as exhausting for us as they are for you.
It's a stunning lack of self-awareness, right? Like, it says she's opened up about why she went back to her she/her pronouns. She says, I constantly had to educate people and explain why I identified with those pronouns. It was absolutely exhausting. I just got tired, but for that reason, I know that it's important to continue spreading the word. So
spreading the gospel.
Spreading the gospel of
being non-binary.
Of gender ambiguous pronouns.
I face this every day. For example, in public toilets, having to access the women's bathroom, even though I don't completely identify with it. I don't believe for a second that Demi Lovato, a star of her caliber, is ever using public restrooms.
What?
To start with.
Okay. Finish the next
She said
part.
it also happens when filling out forms such as government documents or any other where you have to specify your gender. You only have 2 options, male and female, and I feel like none of that makes sense to me. I see myself conditioned to choose a woman because there are no more. I think this has to change. Hopefully with time there will be more options.
I've got a problem with this, okay? I'm going to tell you why. There's nothing in the world worse than going to the DMV. The DMV is already a shit show no matter what time you go, no matter where you go. Maybe it's a little bit better when you're not in a city, fine. But everyone knows the DMV sucks. Imagine having to go to more really, really poorly run government buildings, government functions, and there's even more ambiguity to the forms you have to fill out. It will be a hellscape beyond what it already is. When the government asks you whether you're a dude or a chick, they're not asking you how you feel. They're asking you what the frick is on your driver's license and maybe possibly what your sex organs are, because it might be relevant if you get hit by a car and they need to do some type of medical procedure. They don't care how you feel.
They don't care if you're a fluid person.
Nobody
and
gives
the
a
binary
shit.
Just doesn't make sense to you.
Like imagine like you're in an ambulance, right? And they're like, what is your gender? Like, well, you're bleeding from from your chest. And you're like, on Mondays I sometimes feel like a girl, but on Wednesdays, no.
This came up at a Matt Walsh Q&A event. Actually, someone in the crowd I think came up and they said they were like an EMT or something, and he asked them like point blank, like, okay, like, would you perform, like, would you suggest that someone born male get a hysterectomy? And it's like, yeah, the government and doctors are not asking how you feel.
They don't care how you feel.
But,
they can pretend they care. They do not care. And this is all Demi Lovato. This is the stars like Demi Lovato's fault for making this cool in the culture.
Okay, I draw a parallel here with the Ellen Page thing, which you guys were talking about while I was away, which was just absolutely insane. Like, she's hearing voices in her head. She's hitting herself. Harley Pasternak was her personal trainer at the time that she decided to transition. Lots of fishy stuff about that. But this is someone who I presumed before I even found out the facts got assaulted or preyed upon in Hollywood as a young actress. And as a coping mechanism, a poorly drawn out one, but a coping mechanism, decided to defeminize and alienate herself from everything feminine and female, because that is a defense mechanism against further abuse.
And it was Demi Lovato and a couple of others that when the first time you pointed that out to me, like the reason they shaved their heads, like that was kind of revelatory to me. Like I never thought of it that way.
Or even like Julia Fox, like why does she constantly say that she wants to be unattractive to men? I don't think it's just that she's so like cool and fashionable.
Such a rebel.
I think it's actually something like deeper than that, and like it's sad. And I bet that Demi Lovato would also go in that camp, being a child star herself. A former child star, especially in Disney. And now she's just looking for any innocuous reason to claim victimhood when she probably was victimized in very like real, valid ways while she was growing up in the entertainment industry, but for whatever reason has a muzzle on her that she can't talk about that.
Yeah.
That. So she's like going after yogurt shops and government documents,
but they're also so
victimizing her.
They're also so heavily indoctrinated that they don't see the problems with their own ideology.
Like the neurosis has gone so far that this is what she thinks is victimizing her and oppressing her.
Yeah. The government doesn't care what your gender is. And this notion that it's that important, that it's coming down to how you fill out your government docs, it highlights the narcissism of the culture that we've grown into, that is it's a top-down thing, right? The celebrities, the people that are up here on the social scale are the ones perpetrating it first, and then it leaks down into the culture, and now everyday people look at themselves with such awe that they think that other people care that much. They don't care that much. Have you ever seen the things where they talk about, think about if you're ever worried about like all the embarrassing things you've ever said or done, right? Like just think about this. Try to think of the embarrassing things that other people that you know have said or done. Like nothing comes to mind.
Yeah. Well, there are a few things, but
it takes time to think of it, right? You'd have to be reminded of that person.
Sure.
Like, you're not going to just like, I don't randomly think about embarrassing things my friends have said or done. I think about random embarrassing things that I've said or done. One of the weirdest things about doing this podcast is like on a regular basis, I'm like, well, now there's a strong record of all the stupid things I've ever said. Maybe I don't want that. But for these celebrities, it's pure narcissism, and it's bleeding down into the culture, and it's creating an entire army of narcissists who think that your gender identity or your identity proper is the most important thing about you. Realistically, this is my opinion, I'm not stating this as fact, your immutable characteristics and your gender identity should be the least interesting thing about who you are as a person. Your personality should be what people care about. Who you are as an individual, your choices, your beliefs, how you see the world, that's what's interesting. Not how you categorize yourself.
Yeah, how you retroactively categorize yourself, yeah, that's not interesting. But I would say that who you are as an individual is the most influenced by what sex you are. Like, the way that you interface with the world is the most, like,
but they're trying to pretend as if
whether you're a man or a woman.
But they're trying to portray that as something that's not so cut and dry, not so black and white.
That men in Hollywood or entertainment who identify as non-binary reap more rewards for it than the women who do? Because I'm starting to notice that pattern. Specifically, I'm thinking about Ezra Miller and Sam Smith versus like a Bella Ramsey or a Demi Lovato. When you identify as non-binary as a female, then, and when they're like gender non-conforming award shows where, all the men are nominated, it seems like it all benefits men. Yeah. At the end of the day.
Patriarchy just reasserting itself all over again. It's patriarchy in a dress.
People are even more loyal to abiding by like male non-binary pronouns than females non-binary pronouns. Yeah. When they're celebrities.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Maybe
it's because like, and this isn't to be rude, but like male celebrities are just kind of like if you're an action star and you're a guy, right? Like you're just a guy, like you're just a male action star. Females, it feels, because it's such an important part of the start of their career, their femininity plays such a huge role in how they're perceived. Whereas the men, it seems to be more about the work. I don't know. It's I definitely feel like you're probably right.
It's easier to like use the non-binary or gender non-conforming identity to evade responsibility for men than it is for women.
Yep. And it really does, like, who's it? Like the guy who's playing Doctor Who now? Like it really does. His name is I can't pronounce it. His last name's pronounced Gatwa, but I can't pronounce his. It's like Ncuti.
There's some story about like Ryan Gosling going to his trailer and being like
it's gonna be awesome.
Doctor Who is awesome.
Which is funny because I've been watching Doctor Who, so now it's like it's just depressing knowing where it's going.
Yeah, you should probably drop off after 12 or
I don't plan on making it that far. Like I said, my strongest skill set in the world now is I can just stop watching something. I don't care how good it is. If I get
put that on your resume.
One bad episode and I am just gone. Like
one of your skills listed on your resume is like can stop watching a show
at any point. Like it's like I actually don't like watching, like when I find new shows that I like, I get frustrated because I'm like, now I'm going to be up late watching it. I don't want that. Like, I want to show, like, the best shows that I can find are ones that are very good enough that I can keep watching episodes, but not so good that I can't turn it off and go to bed. There's a very sweet spot in there. Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles, and Veronica Mars were perfect for that. Very interesting, can keep watching right through, but if it's time to go to bed, it's time to go to bed. I can turn it off.
So true. Okay.
Look, I think you're right. I think that in a lot of ways, it's like a weird type of dog and pony show patriarchy in a dress and lipstick.
Yeah.
It really is.
Pretty
like
much.
It's just like they're like a bunch of men got together, like you said, like all the women when they get together at the National Women's Conference.
No, it's the global all women on earth conference where we make collective decisions about our official party platform.
Well, the men did the same thing, and they're like, look, we're losing all this power. We got Weinstein and Me Too. We got all these bad things happening, and somebody's like, dude, I got it. He's like,
catch-all solution.
We'll just change our pronouns.
We're not men anymore.
We're just chicks now. And then some dude, like whoever the grand, like the guy in charge, who would that be? Be like the big head honcho of their group is like, that's freaking genius.
It's George Soros.
It's
okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think all men kind of have this latent desire to kind of escape all of it, to kind of like get away from it all. Like I joke like all men secretly want to be homeless because so much is expected of men, and they have this latent desire that should be suppressed to escape all of their responsibility because...
Well, all of them, think about it. Isn't that why midlife crises happen?
Exactly. And like, I feel like becoming non-binary is just a new version of that.
Well, there's ample evidence that when women transition and become men, they're like, this sucks.
But did you see the video that went viral from it was an FTM trans person saying like, no one told me it would be lonely to be a man.
There was also the one who committed sewer slide after doing so.
And it's really sad. I don't like when people like do Fortnite dances on the proverbial graves of these people. Like, obviously it's a living hell to be a woman, but to be disguised to the world as a man, or vice versa.
Yeah. I imagine that they don't realize that like a lot of those men that like, I don't want to deal with it anymore. I'm sick of being called an R-wordist every time I talk to a woman. I'm sick of being told that I make more, that even though I'm a bigger star than this person, it's because I'm a guy that I make more money than them.
It's not necessarily that. I mean, like someone like Ezra Miller is literally a predator and
they escapes
responsibility for his actual actions and the allegations against him.
Then did the actions come before the like? But he didn't throw that on as a veil to prevent himself from criticism. It's kind of like the opposite of like I think he actually always was kind of that way, and then it just happened to benefit him. I think he's been non-binary for a while now. It's not like it's a recent thing.
This is why you shouldn't trust male feminists.
It's not. It's the same thing as like Kevin Spacey being like, I'm not an R-wordist, I'm just gay. Like that's, remember when he's like, oh,
it's sort of like that too.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people will balk at this, but like I do think for a man to like especially come out as something later in life, it's a midlife crisis thing.
Yeah.
That's something I've noticed.
I don't know, man. It's just like, I really do see a lot of it. I think a lot of it's the same women as straight women who suddenly have kids that don't fit in the right body. Everyone's looking for a way to be special. Everyone is desperate to be special. They're narcissistic. They want the world to bow down to them. And now we're in a world now where to be special, you have to carry some type of unique identity. And in Hollywood, if you have the perils of just being a straight white male or a straight white female, you got to do something a little bit extra if you want to stand out from the crowd, to stand out from your colleagues. And right now, it's an ode to narcissism. And in a lot of ways, it's being leveraged and weaponized to allow themselves more clout in the industry.
Yeah.
So, and it's particularly annoying for Lovato because like, look, I just look at this like, okay, they're like,
I feel bad for her.
No. It's like, it's important. We got to do this. But then it's not so important that I just gave up. Gave up.
She's definitely annoying, but I feel bad for her because like, she's clearly mentally disturbed, and it's from growing up in this industry.
I just love the idea that they're like, it's so important. We need to tear down the patriarchy. We need to tear down the gender binary. But oh my God, look at these government forms and these bathrooms. I quit. I'm not doing this anymore. No, like you commit to the bit, lady. If you're gonna, you commit to the bit, them. It's like I'm sorry. Like if you're gonna spout this nonsense as if it's the most important thing in the world, you should at least commit to the situation you have created for yourself.
That's fair.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
All right, we got some super chats to finish out the show.
Isaac Martinez said, "Welcome back, Mary. How was your trip? And I like your hair, Brett." Brett was just complaining about his hair.
Yes, I need a haircut again.
Yeah, my trip was great. I don't know how much I should even say about it, but yeah. I enjoyed it. Kai said, #bad app.
#bad app.
Bullet Shepherd, I already read that one. Spencer Jones said, Lee Pace is also gay.
Yeah.
LOL. Yeah.
Yep. I don't know if he was out at that time. He was probably definitely out during the one with Mindy Kaling. But during the one I was talking about before, about the other actress, I think... Don't quote me. Maybe someone can look this up. I think it was Amy Adams who said that. It would be amazing if I actually remembered that.
Someone called you out for the way that you talked about Transformers. Sketch Therapy said, reviews pizza. Only poop on the first slice. Great pizza.
What? I don't get it.
Like,
I don't get it.
like if you buy a pizza and there's like feces on only one slice at, at the beginning.
Then
if there's only wokeness in the first 5 minutes of the movie,
then the question is, you should consider as a director whether that problem is going to be enough to actually ruin the. But I didn't say it was a great pizza. I gave the movie a 4 out of 10.
I get it.
Okay, like no.
To be fair to you,
I gave the movie a 4 out of 10, and the problem with that is like, look, if you make something that annoying early on, it can color your opinion of the whole movie because it ruins the vibe.
Yes.
And so it colored like, and also
maybe they should leave it for the last 5 minutes.
And I pointed out, I said,
how about that?
And I also pointed out, I said, this is my own bias. I love the first few movies, so it already has that working against it. I also acknowledge that the capitalism line in the trailer from before the movie isn't inherently this movie's fault, but it affected my viewpoint. I pointed this stuff out.
Okay, if you had to choose, would you go with first 5 minutes, wokeness in the first 5 minutes, or the last 5 minutes of a movie?
You know what I would do? I would just randomly throw it in an action scene where one of the Transformers beating up on the guy or the girl, and she's like, "You can't do that. You're an alien, but I'm a woman. You can't beat me." I want to see it just over the top.
Okay, but if you had to choose,
neither. It's bad. Like
which is less bad?
We pointed it out when they did it in the Batman. When they did it in the Batman, when she has the random white privilege on, it takes you out of the movie. It makes you feel like you're watching something. You're no longer looking at a character. You're looking at the mouthpiece for some crappy writer.
Yeah.
You lose. Not my fault.
The Batman was pre-Mary era.
Yeah. Well, it's like that line wasn't at the beginning or the end. It was couched like 3/4 of the way.
Kai said, "We are Bad App now. We are Legion."
It's a collective now, I see.
James Orenthal Wen said, "Rural DMVs are game changers.
I've heard.
Urban cities."
I've heard such a thing that apparently they're not.
Do celebrities have to go to the DMV?
They probably have their agents go.
How is that legal?
Can
I have an agent go to the DMV for me?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that
Double
be nice?
standards.
Yep.
Kai said Jane Seymour is still hot.
Okay. Also, I want to point out again, just to get back off topic slightly, like I tried to apply because everyone gets on me for my movie rating systems when I say that a 7 is average and they're saying a 7 is above average. But when I think of a 7, I think of like a 70, meaning like a C. But apparently I should be saying a 5 is average. But when I think of a 5, I think of a 50%, which would be an F, which is a failing grade, right? So I tried to apply a new logic. So I said a 3 or a 4, but then afterwards I upped it and said maybe I should have said a 4 or 5 because a 5 would have been average.
Spider-Verse is now the highest rated movie on Letterboxd.
I saw that.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah. Also, it's we got another one there.
We've got a lot more.
Oh, okay, go for it.
Grofty said, Buck.
Well, thank you, Grofty.
Shane H. Wilder said, Brett, get through all of Tennant's Doctor Who run, and then you're good. I thought that Matt Smith wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Go until you're tired of it.
Yeah.
I Am What I Am said, so how many pro-Mary in France did you go to marry? What does this mean?
With Sketch Therapy says, I was joking, at least I got married to laugh.
Yeah, he offended Brett. Yeah. Sorry, I am what I am. I don't understand what you meant by that question. Yeah. Grofty said, good to see you back, Mary. Brett, rock on.
Rick C in the chat says, it's not the way you review it, Brett. It's the movies you watch. But the problem is a lot of people were thought this movie was pretty good. So they thought I was being unduly harsh on it. And I was just pointing out, like, look, I've got my own bias. There's no hot Megan Fox, and there's no Shia LaBeouf. There's no Michael Bay. Therefore, it gets a meh from me.
Do you think Megan Fox would go back to the Transformers franchise ever?
No, I mean, I don't think she needs to. But would she want to work those dreaded
grueling
12
hours.
to 18-hour days to make millions of dollars?
Porco Rosso Forever said, any sick deets on episode 400 yet? I'd like to see Brett in a tux. We have a plan for episode 400.
Yeah, we're going to have to think about that one because that's one of those ones where it's like, oh, guys, we're very close to a 6 crisis party. We should get a 6 crisis party. Like that will be a grueling day. And it would have to require us to be very
Yes.
comfortable in moments of silence.
Yes.
Like there might not always be someone talking.
But I'm thinking about doing TTS, and I think
Yeah.
that could work.
Who wants to give a? Oh no, we got a 6 crisis party. We have to now stay on air until we get it.
We have more super chats here. Wyatt Derp said, if the public will continue to hand over money to watch obvious crap, how can they in turn expect improvement or change from the writers and producers? Well, you can't just stop watching everything and know that it's obvious crap.
I mean, to be fair, I don't watch a whole lot of stuff. Like we go review the movies because we review the movies.
Yeah.
But like I don't force myself to sit through garbage on television. Like I said, I can just turn it off. If I don't like something, I don't care how deep into it is. I don't care if I'm 7 seasons into a show that's 4 episodes from the end of the show. If it loses my interest,
The good thing about
I stop watching.
streaming shows is they know when you drop off of watching it, but if you buy a movie ticket and you hate it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You bought the ticket. It's over.
Yep. It's a single point of sale.
Grofty said, I can smell the next party.
Yes, we're very close. We're
So
there,
can
but
I.
now we're just waiting for it to go.
It's like before you have a seizure and you start smelling oranges.
or like when you have a heart attack and you grab your shoulder.
Sort of like that. DD Mega Dudu 97 said, just stopping by to suggest adding a nuke sound effect to the end of the super chat, or have the explosion start off with the bomb sound from Jango Fett on Star Wars 2. Also glad to see you again, Mary.
With an E. Mary with an E.
Mary.
Are there
Christmas.
actually like hipsters that name their kids Mary with
I hope not.
an E and 2 R's?
I hope no. Kai said, this is bad app, Sparta kick, Kratos style.
Thank you guys. All right.
And
we got one more.
Said, was supposed to say, how many protests did you go to in France, Mary? I didn't see any protests. I would have joined if I saw some, but I did walk by a whole stretch of the street that was covered in eggs. Like people had thrown eggs onto the street. It was disgusting. There were just egg yolks running through.
Were they once again protesting the
sidewalk,
raising the age of retirement by like 4 months?
It was something stupid like that. There were also stickers on all of the street posts that were like, I don't know, like resist. It was like
generic terms.
It was
resist.
in like I could kind of translate what they meant by it. But yeah, they're very cringy.
Yep.
Overdressed said, Brett, I don't watch a lot of stuff. Brett also talks a lot of stuff he watches.
I don't watch a lot of new stuff, is what I said.
You guys are going after Brett today.
Mary comes back and suddenly I'm
Suddenly you're
persona
on the
non
attack.
grata. I see it. I will turn this podcast around. Do not make me do this.
I will stop this stream.
Stop this stream right now and take us home if we're not careful, guys.
Well, we are stopping the stream.
All right, guys, before we go, thank you so much for insulting me constantly. I appreciate it very much. No, I'm just kidding. Like this video, subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. Thank you. Mary, let everyone know where they can find you.
Yes. You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or send me hate on Twitter. That is also Mary Archived. I need more of it. Give me the dopamine.
Perfect. Guys, if you'd like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. Thank you so much for bearing with us today, dealing with the tech issues at the start of the show. I'm glad that it worked out. The show is here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you'd like to listen to this podcast, we are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. And if you'd like to follow the show on social media, we are on Twitter at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at popculturecrisis, and on Instagram at popculturecrisispod. We will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Later.